Hi, my name's Melinda Price. In 2024 I'm racing in Radical Cup Australia with Volante Rosso. Very much old dog new tricks kind of thing, trying to get jiggy with the technology here. The OG gear is fantastic. The socks are really comfortable, gives you enough movement on the pedal, but they still breathe really nicely. And the gloves are super comfortable. They breathe a little bit better than your racing gloves. Really love it.
Between innings, it's time. It's back. It is V8 Pro time. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Logitech G V8 Pro Invitational. And not only are we back and back in a big way, we are here in America, Road Atlanta, uphill, down dale, over curb, on those rear tires, on the front end, pull that thing up, chicanes, left, right, all the way around the track. It's a short, sharp lap, and the races will match here tonight. Notice I said races as well. It's super sprint format. It's back in a slightly different iteration than it was in last year's event. The big thing this time out, 15 laps in race number 1, 23 laps is going to be the journey in race number 2. That means we're going to have ourselves a compulsory pit stop in just one of the 2 races here tonight. Can you make it on fuel with a little bit of safety car magic? Yes, you can. But for the man with all the data, he's over there in all his new schnaz. Mate, Sandman, the wardrobe's been updated. That's the biggest thing I've noticed since the last race.
Mate, we got some new digs, aren't we? Looking sharp, eh? So never mind. So the race suit's been put aside for this one, but nevertheless, it's round number 2. Good to have you back in the hot seat too, Scotty. Welcome back to a brand new series, 2026. I don't know, have we got a rinse and repeat of last year? Jared Filso absolutely dominant last time out, and well, here we go. What are we going to see here at Road Atlanta? I reckon it's going to be an absolute cracker. 2 races, like you said, so something a little bit different. Let's have a look at our track map. And of course, we're all familiar with this racetrack, and for me, the one thing you got to look out for is turn 1, because right here, turn 1, if you run wide there, that throws your what am I trying to say? Here I am, can't even speak. You can't get that rhythm through the S's, and that really hurts your time. So whether you want to be on a good lap or not, you try to get out of the way from your lap cars and all the rest of it. It can be a bit of a daunting place to get out of the way, so you really got to keep your eye on the mirror. But you can lose so much time through this part of the racetrack. So absolute cracker of a track. I really enjoyed a lot of undulations. Yes, as it really gets your attention, but absolute ripper. Now, what I was saying about the opening round, championship points are pretty much our race results from round number 1. It's not too hard to work out, but absolute dominant performance there from the Lobs guys and Jared Filsell. Those guys have started off their season incredibly well, and they'll be looking for pretty much the same thing tonight. I don't imagine too much will change, but time will tell. This racetrack can throw a couple of curveballs, and like you said, Scotty, 2 races around here. A sprint race, which I love the idea of, and then race number 2 with a compulsory pit stop. So nice way to mix things up a little bit. So talking about the round number 1, I should say, is a little bit of controversy we had at the end of this race. This was the contact with Rick Kaznestoff and Madison Down. Now, there's been a lot of talk about this since our opening round. And by the way, the officials have deemed that Rick Kaznestoff will have a rear of grid start penalty for race number 1. So there has been some outcome from this, but it was a little bit surprising. I think we're all taken back by about the action that happened. And Scotty, you were a viewer at home, and I know this sort of is a little bit damning, but how's the avoidance there from Hayden Veld when he gets through this incident? He sees it happen in front of him and lucky not to get caught up in it as well. But yeah, it was quite controversial, and it would have been interesting from your seat too, Scotty, because you were taking it all in as a viewer.
Yeah, I think about now, I was actually fast asleep trying to catch up on some rest as I was massively unwell. I caught sort of the first half of the race and was like, yeah, no, I'm done. I'm cooked. I'm heading back to the garage for a bit of shut-eye. But I think the big thing is that Rick come out and he said openly, look, I genuinely made a mistake. And Rick will own that. He's generally that kind of guy. I trust him on that. That's the position I'm going with. Has he still made a mistake? Absolutely. But he's been penalised for it. And it's a pretty whack of penalised. I actually dropped down and had a quick chat to him just before tonight. He said, yeah, look, I'm actually looking forward to tonight. You know, starting from the end of the field, a little bit of an opportunity to practice and work on cut my way through the field. So his spirits are back up. He's directly apologised to Madison. Obviously, I think the big thing for this series as well is the drivers have to have a perspective. Madison was very, very adamant. I don't like this. I don't like what's going on. And you have to be as the driver that's in his position. You know, what went on. Rick's obviously gone to him, apologised. That relationship will hurt for a while. That's part of what we do as car racing people. Has he made a mistake? Yeah, Rick's genuinely made a mistake. So, yeah, look, is it a good look? No. For anyone, no. You know, it is what it is, though. What are we looking at, though, for the rest of the championship? Tonight here at Road Atlanta, 2 weeks' time, we'll be back in the saddle again, though. Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps. Porsche Cup was last out there only last Wednesday night. What will the V8 Supercars be offering? And then running through the rest of the calendar. A little bit of a break after that through to June. 2 races in June. We get into our endurance calendar through the middle of the year. That's the big change up. The TBA at the back end of the calendar, there's a few different options that might necessarily pop out. Personally, I actually hope it's Bahrain. If we get the Bahrain GP track, what do you reckon? Second last round of the championship? I reckon that's a banger spot for it on the calendar.
Yeah, interesting.
So, either way, ladies and gentlemen, have your thoughts on it. And the big thing is, we want to hear what your thoughts on it are at home. But the thing I will say is be respectful. Have a say, but don't blatantly come out and attack people. You can have a strong opinion, but you can voice it in a manner that also shows respect to everyone that's involved. And I think that's what you necessarily need to do. Michelin Raceway, Road Atlanta, the circuit stats, you went through them. The big thing, though, is actually sits in between turn 11 and turn 12. Since the last time that we journeyed here, Petit Le Mans on the iRacing calendar, October last year. Leading into that one, there was a slight change to the pit lane entry. That means that the pit lane speed limit cone falls significantly earlier on the pit lane entry. But the big thing is 4 kilometers in length, 4.088, 4,088 meters, 2.54 miles, only 12 corners. Well, technically, do you call turn 4, what's turn 5? I think there's about 14, 15 corners to this place. That map says otherwise. Pit lane speed, 72 kilometers an hour. And the big thing is the transition time from end to end pit lane's gone up by about 4 seconds, I think it is, since that increase. One of the lower full throttle percentages that we're going to see across the season. But we are going to see 61.6% at 80% or greater. This track is technique, it's flow, and it's mashing gas artfully. There is no point in time where you are smashing onto that throttle pedal, but you've got to try and let the car rotate and let it settle on that rear end, Sam, man. And in these beasts, that's a tricky thing. You'll know that better than I will.
Absolutely. And when I was trying to be absolutely tongue-tied and spit out everything that I wanted to say, those sections through turn 1 to 5, the throttle usage through that part is really interesting. And of course, of how you get that control through there. But yeah, it'd really be interesting to see that throttle undulation. But as we check out our previous winners, Jake Burton in 2023 was only a one race round that time round. We had a little bit of a holiday in 2024, but for 2025, you can see Jared Filsell dominated and run race 1 and 2, and pretty much expect much the same. I don't know if anyone's going to stop Jared Filsell at the moment.
Well, in 2023, that was actually, I think, the championship finale back then as well, too. So that's also really, really important. And all Mads had to do was finish on that occasion. He just basically had to survive turn 1, and that's it. This is what we're talking about in terms of the pit lane entry. Where was the old line? It's basically where that tyre bundle is in the front end of the shot. It's shot straight across to the other side. So it's a lot deeper into the pit lane entry. Where is that marker now. Now, the benefit for Jay Kennedy is he actually gets to play with the controller. He feels a little bit like he's sitting at home playing some PlayStation. No, sir, this is on PC. This is iRacing. That is the new pit lane marker. And those cones there are going to try and let the drivers know, but when you're in a queue of cars firing in, and it extends the pit lane quite massively. Already caught a ton of cars out this week in other series as well. It's something that you've got to account for. I knew about it, but a whole bunch of people didn't. Apparently, Petit Le Mans and endurance racing and multi-class racing, compared to V8 supercars, isn't all that common, so they tell me.
That was a perfect replay just then. You saw one of the TTR cars, I think it was, trying to get in pit lane, got it in, turned hard right. The car got away from him, gathered it up. But you're also on the pits just trying to slow it down before you hit those cones too. So it is going to be quite challenging for someone that, like yourself, if you weren't too aware of it coming into tonight, surely the amount of practice they would have had leading up to tonight, they would have been all over it. But I think it would definitely have caught a couple of people out when they cut their first couple of laps around here.
Josh Anderson, seated number 3 on the electric timing board on the front end of that car. That's because he's currently 3rd quickest in practice at the moment. So you can see the drivers and their listings, of course. Keep your eye on the yellow panel on our timing tower. That's the driver we're going to be following at this point in time. Now, there is one more critical factor that we have to walk through for race number 1 of this one for tonight, Sandman, and it was those weather graphics that we were just talking about. There is rain on the forecast. It's not guaranteed, but there is a whisper there, and it's a. Can we get the camera of Sandman back up as he will race back over to stand in front of his banner? Sandman, I want you to give me your best rain dance, or at least your imitation of it falling from the heavens. Can you give me that?
The perfect reason not to stand back in the G-Hub. That's fantastic. So you shouldn't have teed me up for that one. There we go. Look, I've disappeared. Don't know where I am. So, but we all do love a bit of rain, and I mean, it's not a certainty, like you said, but there is a slight chance that weather may play a bit of a part in this. And I like that because the fact that the drivers will get their eye in dry conditions and then it starts to rain. How many of these drivers have actually done any wet weather practice? Who knows coming into tonight.
Well, I think the big thing was it was pretty much confirmed to be dry up until today as well. That's sort of a bit of a change in the system that's built up over the current 24 hours. So I know there was a swing being made in a few of the garages at the cars, and at least adjustments and settings that they can go for, and there's going to be a lot of discussion because the thing is, V8 supercars, set and forget, there's no ARBs on board this thing anymore. You cannot change this thing up in the middle of a race. You've got no real tinkering to go in any direction. So if you go for a hybrid set, something that's going to be a little bit better in the wet, you're sacrificing dry pace. If that rain doesn't fall, you've paid a big penalty because you were attempting to look after the thing in tricky and mixed conditions, let alone the rain could fall in the dying laps of the thing and we never transition over to a wet tyre. That is the risk that you go for. Car number 47, a little bit of a new sponsorship on the side of this one, the Race ANZ chat show at the moment on the podcasts in the region. Stenny gets through. He's going to reach on over. That looks like he's trying to get out of the sim by the sounds of things. You'll see him tow back to pit lane here in a few moments. That was a qualifying sim for the man most likely to get as close to the steering wheel as physically possible. I'll tell you what, the seating positions in a NASCAR wouldn't look too out of sync. That's about how close those guys are. We'll have to get Shane to compare and tell us what he thinks, I reckon, at some point.
You want to see someone climb all over a steering wheel. If you're a NASCAR fan back in the 90s, Mark Martin used to be right up all over the steering wheel. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, go and check out Mark Martin's onboard camera of him and the way he used to hold the wheel. It was really interesting. It was almost like his hand and his wrist was on top of the wheel and then his elbow was almost at the base of the wheel. That's the way he used to drive. It was really unique, but hey, you can't take too much away from him. If it works for him, then so be it.
Yeah. Final few moments of the practice session. Half the field in pit lane at the moment, probably taking an opportunity to rest and reset. Group qualifying as well. When the lap is 4 kilometres in length, there is not enough space to get 45 V8 supercars out there all at the same time. They'll be done in groups of about 20 to 25 cars based upon championship running order. The critical factor in that one is the conditions change throughout the session, 10 minutes each, and it'll be a second qualifying session for the second race as well, ladies and gents. 2 races, 2 qualifying sessions, 4 groups, 4 opportunities to go out there and set the lap time. If conditions get better in the second half of the session, well, that means the guys that go up front, they will be compromised. Think about the guys, though. Madison Down will be coming through. No points at the end of round number 1. Means that he will be one of the first to take to the track. Took pole position here back in 2025 race 1. What can he do in qualifying 1? Checkered flags in the air. Sandman, it's time to show your pace. Show what you've got. Show your medal. It's all about raw lap time for the next 10 minutes.
Absolutely, and it's going to be all come down to commitment and car prep and how you feel about your racetrack. And tell you what, if you haven't got your head around this place now, it's a little bit too late. It can be a little bit of a daunting racetrack. This corner that we see coming to the start-finish line there is so much commitment. It's a downhill section. It's a fast right-hander. And you're trying to get on the throttle as quick as you can to get across that start-finish line and hopefully better your time. So a lot of commitment corners around here, but I love the undulation and the different corners that we've got around here. It really makes for good racing, and a little bit jealous because this is a really fun racetrack to drive. So a little bit jealous that I'm in the commentary box tonight.
Are you sure? Mate, I don't think we have room for a car circulating about 3 seconds slower than
Yeah, the stewards would be sick of giving me black flags and move over, blue flags to move over all the time. They'd be over it.
I love the fact that we're allowed to have some banter up here. Right, group number 1, drivers from 23rd or lower in the running order. Let's run through them. Bo Albert, car number 06. Tom Freer, car 41. Stenberg, 47. Will Buchanan, 281. Andre Yusuf, car 900. Brad Newman, car number 3, the only of the Lobs cars in the back half of the field. Rick Kuznetsov, car 888, will be starting to the pit lane, won't take part in back of the field, won't take part in qualifying. Sam Blacklock, car 215. Brenton Hobson, 88. Wayne Walker, 217. Dennis Gitarik, 333. Jake Burton, car 8. Brian Borg, 017. Will Sapstead, 81. Ryan Jones, 11. Angus Lawford, 52. Matt Ciroli, 061. Rivera, 21. Bowler, 12. Ryan Bettis, 113. Chaston at 427. Andre Heimgartner, 21. Daniel Poulton, 970. Dylan Rudd, 990. Josh Horton, 43. Madison Down is the big one, car 77. And 326 for Philippa Bukita. Pep Bukita in this one, after being known for all of her exploits and being a part of BS Competizione in the other side of the sim racing world. And of course, Jack Wittes also invited to partake here tonight as well. That is group number 1, as Will Sapstead stands on the loud pedal up and out the crest of turn 5, up and over the curbs, and it's compliance across those curbs. It will be a major factor here tonight.
Mate, what a great looking car. That looks really good. The artwork on that is really brilliant. William will be spewing a little bit. He got a little bit sideways, so he'll throw a little bit of time there. But it looked impressive on the racetrack. Unfortunately, it won't convert to speed. But man, oh man, if that thing goes as quick as good as it looks, mate, he is on for pole because that really looks brilliant.
Mate, like the pair of us, he's looks like he's been on holidays in the recent past. Although instead of us out on cruise ships, I think he's out there out in Miami, mate. This is Atlanta. Miami's a couple 100 kilometres away, mate, at least. So you're in the wrong section of America for that one. But it's going to be sliding the rear tyres. The thing for Will Sapstead is the next lap isn't all that important in terms of car pace. First lap goes down and on the board, and he jumps to the top of it because he's the first guy to get a lap in. Madison Down, 20.885. Top of the timing sheets to start off with. Bowler, 902. Blacklock, 989. It's a minute and 20 seconds around this joint. At the moment, Dylan Rudd goes 4 thousandths away from the top of the podium. And at the moment, there's nothing between it at the pointy end. In sim, at the point in time, it is 9 a.m. in sim. The track will be starting to warm up. This is going to be the best of the conditions in race number 1 and qualifying number 1. 22.2 degrees on the track, 13 kilometres an hour in terms of that wind speed. Wayne Walker didn't quite make it in terms of points, did when somebody wasn't able to partake in the series. What's he got for us? Oldest driver in the field in the 417, puts a relatively respectable lap time together, goes to 12th, 19 times set out of the first group of qualifying, and that's the bulk of them. At least got a lap to start off with. How about Brad Newman, though? We're expecting to see him a little bit further up the pylon, and he's just struggling to come to grips with the Gen 3 car. And his teammates absolutely love taking the mickey out of him about it as well. I had a chat to him about that the other night.
Good start by Madison Down. You touched on his difficulties, well, we did with obviously the replays, but his qualifying drama in the opening round, he actually made contact with his teammate. So he had a terrible qualifying result last round, and to see him at the top of the timesheets, he'd be thrilled with that, just to know he's got a banker. So he'll be there or thereabouts. I don't know if that time will stand, but time will tell.
Well, everyone back in a pit lane. One split done so far. Be some fresh rubber applied and an attempt to go out there and set what's on offer. Sam Blacklock, the only of the Logitech G Orbit drop bear cars in the back half of the field, the other two in the front half of the field. Newman's going to have another crack here. Has he carried on? He's only just put that lap together. Might have bailed on the first attempt, and he's attempting to make this lap work at the moment. Up and over turn 5. Again, looking significantly compliant on the rear end of that car. Is it just me, Sam, man, or looking at the front end of that thing? Has it got a lean on it? I don't think that's set up square. I think that's intentionally on an angle, that car.
Now, you might get an email for some lawyers soon from the Lobs boys saying, don't give away our trade secrets, mate.
Have a look at the angle of the front splitter. It's definitely got a lean on it. Now, most of the track around here, right-hand corners, have a look at that. There's definitely a lean on that splitter. Yeah. That's an asymmetrical setup. That's NASCAR styling.
I wonder where they would have got those ideas from.
Yeah, no idea.
Hey, but that's just it. You know, you hear about, especially real-world V8s, especially when we go to the likes down at Simmons Plains. You know, they do set up NASCAR-ish style setups for a lot of the corners, and you know, it might be something that they've touched on that works for them. And yeah, you might be in trouble, boy, if you're giving away their trade secrets.
But it's there on the broadcast. Keep the story.
They don't want the eagle eyes to catch it.
That's what we're paid for, Sam, man. The expertise that we're up here. And apparently, okay, all right. Well, let's podcast. Mate, you're paid to run away from the steward's office at the greatest rate of knots. That much I do. Your man's
Yep. Up on the wheel, and this is a section where I was so tongue-tied and excited at the start of the broadcast. Just listening to that throttle. Oh, on and off. He's trying his absolute best just to get on it as hard as he can while bouncing up over the curbs, letting the car to try and keep it straight and not get away from him. When you get that section of the racetrack right, it feels so good. And that's almost one of the biggest challenges. Once you get through that part, you get through here and it's smooth sailing, but you do hold your breath for those first couple of turns through the S's.
Yeah, and then you get a little bit of a break and a short break because over 1 minute and 20 of that lap time, the S's, they are so quick fire. Think about prototypes and GT3s that get around here. That's what happens at the back end of the year. In IMSA, into the sunset and into the night time as well for Kurt Stenberg. Down to 10A, 10B. Best overtaking opportunity on the lap. Look at the amount of rubber that's been applied down. Skies look clear at the moment. The qualifying comes early, and here's the pit lane entry that we're talking about.
Oh, thanks, Kurt. It's like we teed that up as we were talking about that new pit lane entry. So all over it, got him nice and smooth. If you're on board with Sam Blacklock, P5 at the moment. Is he going to improve?
Into the section back, that goes to a 9.68 by our timing, and that does indeed improve for Sam Blacklock, but there's a ton of cars that improved as well. Lawford goes into P5. He's in a vein of form at the moment. Everything Angus Lawford drives at the moment is turning to gold, and it looks like tonight he goes to P5 as well. Blacklock did improve, but he lost spots whilst improving. Jake Burton's there as well into a 29.15. At that moment, a 28.85, and when we go back to last year's races, race 1 pole position was a 20.886 Madison down. He is 1/1000th of a second quicker than his lap time from 2025. How about that?
There you go. And as much as these cars changed, the track conditions changed, but the drivers are right up on it. So good to see. But I had a bit of a say before. Andre Holmgartner, how good for him at the moment? P10. So that's about as good as we've seen him qualify for the moment. Obviously, there's still a lot to play out. Another 15 or 16 minutes to go, but it's a good start for Andre. And we go and see Brad Newman on screen.
1 minute left in the first half of the session, and the problem is for Bo Albert, he's got a black flag. There will be no opportunity for him to better his starting position, so the highest he can start is 12. Burton's now picked up a penalty. Is that on the way into pit lane, or is it on the way out? Sapsek comes through in the rapid theft machine. And at the moment, that bit of Miami Vice, he'll be looking for a little bit of Miami spice from the engine department as he makes his way down the start-finish straight. Bowler, car 12 and Eclipse, the team change for 2026. Here comes Stenberg and the iRace ANZ machine. What's he going to be able to apply for us? Down through the final couple of corners, it's on the limit. It's using every little bit of real estate. 30 seconds left on the timer. before they cannot start any more flying laps. The remaining 15 minutes will be used for the second session of qualifying, but first and foremost is emptying the track. There will be 10 minutes for Group 2 is what we've got to come. The top 20 in the championship at this point in time. For Ryan Jones, got the elbows out in Porsche Cup last week. This time back to thing with 8 cylinders in it. He'll apply the brakes at the end of the back straightaway, and it crawled all over the track. He'll cut it. There'll be no further improvement for Ryan Jones. P11 for car 11 as he'll make his way back into pit lane. And I think there's only a couple drivers on a lap, so I think that's the first half of the session. Madison down will go to pole. Track temps come up degree. That might be a marker that we're struggling to beat.
There'd be a lot of drivers in that session that are hoping that the temperature goes through the roof just so it benefits them a little bit. So it looks like Williams actually going to finish this lap. Can he improve on his 21.1? 21.13. He does improve a fraction, but he'll still stay in ninth.
Here we go for Brenton Hobson. Finally, after a long period of time, Hobson got a monkey off his back and cleared that one out. In terms of his qualifying position, he's managed to go from the rear end of the field up to 13th. Brad Newman will come out of the last corner and try and apply the loud pedal. 21.839. And it is going to be an improvement, but not an improvement in place. So at the best, he can qualify as 21st. That might be the very last time in the field. Wayne Walker comes through that final corner. Here comes Matt Ciroli. It's got to be this lap for the Project 36 machine. Up and over the crest out of the final corner. And I think he's on a cool-down lap, because that time is out things. So that will do it from qualifying group number 1. And it is going to be Madison down by 0.2 of a second. You know what? He went faster. He went significantly faster. He went 0.2 of a second faster. I didn't even clock that late on in the session. So improvement late on, and that will be a big, big marker. And as we're at just a couple minutes before 9:30 a.m. in sim at the moment, track temp will set to climb 0.2 of a second. How's that for a big marker, a big stamp of authority on the field?
Yeah, he's, like I said, touching on qualifying, it was an absolute shocker, probably the worst scenario for round number 1. So he'll be breathing a little bit of sigh of relief. I don't know if he'll be able to hold on for P1, but at the end of the day, he's going to be there or thereabouts in much better position than he was last week. And yeah, he'll be thrilled with that, as would a number of those drivers. And now they play the waiting game, and that's the worst part, isn't it? When you see the rest of the cars on track, knowing that you're just a sit and duck and you can't improve anymore, you're just hoping that either the weather comes into play and the track temperature goes up a little bit and you can hold station, but time will tell.
For now, top 10 locked in, down all the way down to Sapstead. At least this is what's going to be shaken up the most. Where will they all end up at the back end of the field? We've got ourselves about 2 minutes before everyone else comes through. Andre Heimgartner, you're right. That does look like the best that they've put the race car together for Heimgartner. There's always been okay, you would say, in the sim, but not necessarily great. And that finally starts to be a little bit of a mark of some speed and confidence. Filippo Bakita in the Beers Competition entry. And I believe this was a technical partnership with the Trans-Tasman outfit as well. So still some work to do, but finding the feet for Bakita. And I just had a quick look down. Yes, indeed, still continuing to work that relationship with Trans-Tasman Racing outfit. Bo Albert, team boss over at Chief C Sports Club as well. We've got an interview teed up already that we'll be working throughout tonight's proceedings. You'll get an opportunity to hear from Bo and what the new partnership will look like for him. And this was the big one from the rear end of the field. Brad Newman, 1.1 seconds off of that marker early on in qualifying. Fair way to go and a fair bit of work, but realistically, a track that challenges every aspect of the skill. It's front end of the car, it's rear end of the car, it's curb balance, it's compliance, it's technicalities, it's how smooth you are on the race car. This track in a supercar is you versus the racetrack. Forget the other guys that are out there on the track.
Yeah, it's a racetrack that really rewards drivers. And like you said, the technicality of this racetrack and the undulation, the S's, the hard braking zones, like it's got, I say it every week, it's got a little bit of everything. This actually does. You have a look at what it's got and it brings a lot to the table. And I think that's why a lot of drivers enjoy it. And boy, oh boy, when you nail it and get a decent lap round here, it feels really good. It feels like you've really earned it. And yeah, it's a very, very rewarding racetrack.
Righto, 30 seconds, all goes quiet up and down the pit lane. The revs have dived out from the racing server at this point in time. In a few moments, it's going to fire back up. You're going to hear another 22 supercars engines roar back into life. But in the moment, just take that breath. Think about it. Think about what you've got to execute. There is 22 drivers at the moment that are the top half of the championship. They want to continue on with what they've got available to themselves. 10 minutes on the clock. Here comes qualifying number 2. Take that breath. Remember all those braking markers. Remember all the moments around the track. You've had a moment to visualize. Now you've got to deliver.
I don't doubt for a second that a lot of these drivers would have maybe taken the opportunity to ride on board. Some of the likes of maybe Madison Down, Dylan Rudd, Matty Bowler, like they would have just seen what they were up against, maybe looked at what their racing line was and all the rest of it. So just to get a bit of a feel and understanding of maybe how this track may have changed since we've had practice. So it's changed a little bit. I didn't quite catch the start of the temperatures at the start of the first quali session, but at the moment 19 degrees and 23 on track. So it has gone up a smidgen, but I don't know how much that will affect these cars. So these drivers will be keen to get that banker in just in case that temperature does continue to rise throughout this 9-minute session.
There's a little bit of competition for where you are on track. I'm actually just seeing Josh Anderson's just gone ahead and taken the opportunity to pass Adam Briggs. And the big thing that I'm starting to see from these guys is just new. And there is some competition for track position at the moment. We've got an eye on Zach Rattray-White, but James Scott and Josh Anderson both just went past Adam Briggs. So there is absolutely battles for track position at this point in time. And there's still more queuing up to have a crack at him at this point in time. But did you notice all of them looking for heat in the front tyres? Not the rear, just the fronts. They want to get some temp and some bite at the front end of the race car. The rear end, oh, well, there's a loud pedal for that. That'll do all the tyre warming that you need at the other end of the car. But the big thing in qualifying, Sandman, and the new thing that we're really starting to see from these guys is that front end bite. That front end temperature is what they're all chasing.
Yeah, you get that front end because the rear temperatures will take care of themselves, especially around this racetrack. So they'll come up no problems. And like you said, a little bit of throttle slip and that'll get those temperatures there or thereabouts. But you do want that front end grip, get that turn in, you want that bite. So that's what they're all chasing. And as we see Zach Rattray-White, he's now coming down the back straight, trying to put down a banker.
I want to keep an eye on, can we get an image of Phil Sell and Gilliam in the front end of their cars? Whether or not that lean we saw on Newman. Because you want to contrast and you want to compare. So have a look at how square the Eclipse splitter is of Zach Rattray-White's to the road. And that's the difference. Is I was looking through it and I just went, hang on, that car's not perfectly square to the road. Now you can see it from Zach Rattray-White. Out of the last corner though, he'll fire it out and across the curb, significantly more compliant than Sapstead was in the first half of the session, and Rattray-White immediately to P2. Burke, Wood, Rudd, here comes the times. They start to tumble up and down. We'll have to sit, we'll have to wait. James Scott finds the flyer. Here comes Phil Sell. Car 94 is going to be looking for something. Blake Warboys has got speed at the moment. But for Jared Phil Sell, defending champion, the man that has been the absolute marker on the season, and his first lap is only 5th best, Blake Warboys to P4. Boy, isn't he back with a bit of emphasis on that one. He has really found some talent in the off-season.
Yeah, be absolutely stoked with that to roll out with his first flying lap as P4. So they'll all now dart back, put a fresh set of Dunlops. But I tell you what, we're lucky this is not real world, Scotty, because you'd have me out there as soon as these cars got back to pit lane, you'd have me shoving my boot under the left front splitter and the right front splitter just to see what the difference is, wouldn't you? So that's what Larkham used to do, the cheeky bugger. He'd go up and just to get a feel for how their front ends are, and you put your foot under there and see what differences are. So be interesting to see if he is carrying that same changes in Jared Philsell for his car.
Just don't touch the rear wing. According to Sebastian Vettel, it's 50,000.
He can afford
it. The charge back to pit lane. But the other thing I'm just noticing is the lean. Because this is Briggs. This is what I was talking about coming up to start the lap. I think, yeah, this is Josh Anderson. Watch him. He's going to dive out. So this was before the start of these guys' flying laps. That's James Scott's the next guy there. Look at them all. They're chasing front end tyre temperature. Anderson goes through. Briggs is sort of a bit boxed in. Scott wants to come through as well. And we're coming up to the braking zone. Yeah, and he just goes, you know what? That's just a little bit of suicide. I've got to be smart about this. Put the lap together. That's what counts.
yeah, it's not worth digging up your race car, turning someone around, possibly getting a penalty. Oh, runs wide there. But, yeah, you haven't even started your lap yet. Last thing you want to do is get a penalty.
Ray Campbell, I was just going to keep an eye on them. Did you notice how low the sills got on the side? So I'm starting to look at cars and read them differently. And the big thing I was noticing was how low that car was to the ground through the first sector. But you take a look at Capel here and you see a little bit more of that up and over the curbs. The compliance, obviously you don't want the car to bottom out. That will take grip away from the thing. Won't be able to apply the power nice and consistently. For car number 18, Lachlan Capel, in the front half of the championship, also participating in the Porsche Cup. One of the few up and down the field that are. I mentioned Ryan Jones is there, Rattray White, Damon Woods, starring at the front of the Porsche Cup. And from all three of the Invitational Championships in 2026, there is only one man who takes on the Ironman Challenge of Sprint Car, Porsche Cup and V8 Supercar. And it is Zach Rattray White, the man that's currently on the front row. What is he capable of finding the second half of this session? I think Capel's on an in-lap. Indeed he is. There's a bunch of guys, though, that are about to fire off and start their second flying laps back end of the session. 4 minutes on the clock. So you would say they might get time for one more flying lap after this one.
You know what, I don't know if I was half asleep for round number one, but these paint schemes, there's been some brilliant paint schemes that I probably just didn't notice for round number one. Maybe I was just too excited that we were back racing, but Wayne Burke, his Chariot doesn't look too bad as well either. So love to see that, people are really going hard at some of their paint schemes. The cars look absolutely magnificent on track. So well done, Berkey. Looks good.
Does look good. Quiet spoken operator, Wayne Burke, out of Vermilion. You won't get many words out of him. He sits there, just goes about his business quietly away in the background. Has a lot of respect. You talk to anyone up and down pit lane that's raced against Wayne Burke over the years, he is well spoken about. A lot of respect for him, a lot of respect for his achievements, but also the way he goes about things. If there's grief, if there's dramas, he'll go away, he'll approach you, he'll handle it, and it's back to business as usual. There's nothing more said about it. It's on with the real show. A couple teams over the years. Finds himself at Vermilion at the moment. Car number 89, participating in NASCAR as well this year. For him, trying to expand his horizons and drive a few different bits and pieces. 10A and 10B. Car number 89. Fires it out. Final couple corners and that rise and fall of a skyscraper nearly. After the final chicane, under the bridge, through the start-finish line. Emily Jones. And car number 3 will come through to put a lap on the board. 28.70. That's pretty good. New car to the top of the timing charts. It is car 17. It's the guy on the Ironman Challenge himself. There is an opportunity, though, for someone to come through and pip it. Will it be Fieldsbell? Blake Warboys has gone to P3. 6.85. No, it's not good enough for Jared Filsell. It's not even good enough for the front row at the moment for the defending champion in 2026. Luke Rosella. Loved the Larrikin on board car 55. He will try and put a lap together. It goes to P5 for car 55. Some speed found there. Ratsu's on a new rig here tonight. Failing a throttle pedal. That all started to come apart. And his championship looking undone for Brad Ratsu last night. He's on a new rig. He's on somebody else's sim. And he's in struggle street. But points will be put on the board. That's what he'll be thinking.
Yeah, at the end of the day, we've touched on how difficult it is. We've seen a number of drivers having to change rigs throughout the season of racing, and it's tricky. But like you said, just grab whatever points you can and survive tonight and then push on for the next round.
For Wayne Burke, this will be in a pit lane. We saw him do that lap last time through. For Josh Anderson. And the BS Hybrid livery. Significant change-ups on board for that one. How good's the numbers and the coloration? I love this. This is a pretty race car.
Yeah. Like I said before, there's so many great-looking race cars, and the paint schemes for this year, they've stepped it up a notch, and I love that from all the teams. It's really good.
Might be something we have to get in contact with the team behind the socials. We might have a new livery vote going in the near future. I know that the fans always like to have their chatter about, particularly when we get to enduro season, and throwback liveries for Andrew Gilliam. Quietly working away behind the scenes at the moment. Looking for a little bit of time. Working with Jaden Ojeda in the real world and the engineering opportunities. gone really, really well for him actually in 2026 already. Now for Jacob O'Reilly is another one of those new liveried Vermilion X Fury cars, 222. Could you imagine walking into a classroom trying to teach one of your students, go, "Sir, I saw you racing a V8 supercar last night on the internet."
Kind of teacher I want, actually. Somebody who sim races. That's awesome.
Do you reckon he gives coaching to any students to take it up underneath him? Righto, checkered flags in the air, which means last opportunity for laps in the session. 25 minutes of qualifying for race number 1. 15 laps to come. Who is going to be starting further up the field? For Jacob O'Reilly, his last opportunity to set a lap? No, it's going to be a drive into pit lane. There's a few guys on laps at the moment. 21st spot, Capel has already put the best time he can possibly find in the session down. Pereira's done. Here comes Andrew Gilliam, which means it's looking like Zach Rattray-White, 617, a 20.617 is in the books. Damon Woods, his teammate, will not pip him. Who is going to find time? Sullivan pit lane. It looks like Zach Rattray-White's got it in the bag. Robbie Gibbs, what can he find? Not enough. Goes to P4. He found a lot. What's that? 17, 18 spots in the last ditch attempt. It was going to be mid-pack madness, mid-pack mayhem, and Robbie Gibbs reaches up and plucks one out of the stars.
How good's that? Last-ditch effort, straight into P number 4. I reckon it had a lot to do with that number 31 on the side of it, Jay. What do you reckon? Who's in the background, obviously? We love our number 31.
Righto, that is it. There is one single car out there doing laps at the moment, and it is not on an active lap time. We can lock those results in. Ladies and gentlemen, car number 17, we said he's on the Ironman challenge. It's not a last to first challenge. It is first off on the grid. Car number 17, Zach Rattray-White's Eclipse Sim Sports Chevrolet is going to be rolling off the front row. It's an all Chevy front row lining up alongside of him. It's a man who finds pace at this racetrack, at least in quali trim. What's the race trim going to look like for car 77? And hopefully the points haul will be significantly better this time by for Madison Down. Jared Filsell had great race pace here last year, won them both. He won just about everything in 2025. Robbie Gibbs will be looking to deny him off alongside. About 300ths of a second separates this row number 2. We'll get back to row number 3, and Blake Warboys, I reckon that has got to be the prettiest car on the field, although I'm a Kawasaki fan, so I think my heart's worn on my sleeve right there for the WKMP Sim Sports entry, and Luke Rosella is going to be lining up alongside of him in car number 55, or Mustang, row number 3. Josh Anderson, new colours for him as well here tonight, just a smidge under 0.2 of a second back from pole position. The Trans-Tasman Racing outfit, James Scott, will be lining up in the second of the Chiefs Esports Club entries out of 8. Top 10 rounded out by Ryan O'Sullivan and Wayne Burke. And those liveries, there's colours and lines going everywhere. And boy, doesn't the ADHD like seeing that one. Excuse me.
I'll take over for you, mate, as you have a little
Adam Briggs got the Synergy Sim Racing machine all the way up to P number 11. Andrew Gilliam will start off alongside of him in 12th spot. 1,000th of a second in row number 6 for this one. Row number 7 is going to be Emily Jones, gets the way all the way through to 13th spot for car number 3, and Hayden Veld will start off alongside in 14th spot. Row number 8 for Damon Woods and Dylan Rudd is going to bring us all the way back to 16th spot. Again, another row that's separated by a single 1,000th of a second. That's how tight we are around this racetrack. Matt Bowler out of 17th spot. 4 thousandths will separate him from Jake Maloney for 18th. Coming back into the back end of the top 20 at the moment, Jake Burton out of 19th, and I think Angus Lawford will probably look at that one and go, yep, I'm reasonably happy with that one for a top 20 start in race number 1. It's going to be an all Logitech G ODBM row number 11 for Sam Blacklock and Lachlan Capel will start off alongside of each other in the 2 Mustangs out of that stable, and Tom Freer and Jacob O'Reilly on row number 12. Bringing us the Synergy Sim Racing and Vermilion Esports squads. Dylan Pereira from Ryan Bettes and row number 13, setting identical times down to the 1,000th of a second between both of those guys. Marcelo Rivera, nearly half a second back. Just outside that marker was Willie Sapstead. Again, another pretty looking ride for Sapstead. Andre Heimgartner will start off alongside of Ryan Jones, and it'll be interesting to keep an eye on what these guys get up to down into turn number 1. Brad Ratsu, alternate sim for him, will line up alongside of Thomas McMillan, and that'll be an interesting one to see how that row goes. Bo Albert lot deeper in the field than he necessarily would have liked. Brenton Hobson had a career first earlier in the week, and unfortunately that hasn't carried over to this one here tonight. Out to row number 18, we're going to get back to 35th and 36th will be Kurt Stenberg from Jordan Mazzaroli. Outside of row number 19, we're going to get to Chastanuff from Wayne Walker, two of the older drivers in the field. Guys have been in and around the run of things for a long, long time out of both of these guys. Rounding out the top 40, though, from 39th and 40th is going to be that Daniel Pullerton and Philippa Bokita Pips struggling a little bit, unfortunately, in qualifying trim from this one. Final car to set a lap time is Brad Newman. The entire field covered by 1.2 seconds. And that is the qualifying order for things. And of course, there's a few cars that come from the rear of the field. Apologies as well. Rain Campbell actually didn't set a time in qualifying whatsoever. Brady Myers also struggled from that front. Don't know necessarily if he's going to be able to put laps in tonight, but Rick Kuznetsov also to come from the rear end of the field. That is the 44 cars that will make up the field at the moment. And it's time to get down into our grid walk. We're going to be having a chat to driver of the number 201. It's going to be Andrew Gilliam in 12th spot that we'll be having a chat to start off with. 12th spot here tonight, Gilly. A little bit of a break and a run away from things. Back into the sim, back into all things sim racing, mate. Quiet start to 2026 for you. Probably not the qualifying that you think you were capable of tonight, I think.
No. The halfway through practice, I think I was like 28th or something, and I was like, oh man, dramas. But no, I got it back up to P12 there, which was pretty good. I was only like 600s off my Opti, so that was the best I could probably do with what I gathered in the second half of practice to try and close the gap. So yeah, at least I can try and fight for a top 10 here and minimize the points deficit. At least it's the 67 point race today. So hopefully I can put my lap together for the next one and go a bit further up.
Mate, the big thing is, Jay, can we get to swing that camera around the front of the car? I want to see if that thing's on a lean. Something we spotted in the qualifying session was that the front splitter of teammate Brad Newman was actually leaning on the racetrack. Can you confirm or deny if there's an asymmetrical setup in that car? Or if I'm throwing you under the bus?
Are you sure the track isn't just banked underneath the car?
Right, ever the wily old man, mate. What's the target for you from P12?
I don't know. P8 would be solid to go into the next race with, I think, if I can get a good start here and maybe pick off some cars, but I just don't want to go backwards, really. Just need to stay in the 10 and bank some points.
You guys have got strong race pace. I'm fairly confident of that one, mate. Go hard, have some fun, and get the elbows out. Will
do, mate. Thank you very much.
Well, tried to get him to give away the secret sauce, but he wasn't very willing to do that. In the meantime, though, Sandman has wandered down to one of the quietest, most unassuming guys in sim racing, and Wayne Burke stands alongside.
Berkey, mate, P10, that quali session, mate, you'll be pretty happy with that, I would imagine.
Yeah, for sure. Like, I think everyone knows quality's not my strongest suit, so yeah, actually trying to work that pretty hard on that at the moment with this new car. So yeah, get P10. Hopefully, it means that it's a bit easy when you start at the front. So I don't have to pass many cars, which is also nice. And then yeah, we'll see what happens. In saying that, I think this race is going to be pretty wild for 15 laps. So we'll see.
Mate, in quali, I was just talking up how good that Chariot looks, mate. She looks good for 2026. It really looks good with that paint scheme and everything else, mate. Were you surprised about your quali, or were you pretty confident of maybe a top 10 start?
I was pretty confident. Like, yeah, the Fury car, Esports Fury car looks really good this year. Glad to have them back on board. And yeah, I was confident of top 10. I think I sort of stuffed up my run plan a little bit for the second run being on my own. Lost a little bit of time in the toe, but no, to be P10, like, it's such a quality field. So we'll just see what happens in the race.
And like you said, it's always that little bit easier when you've got less cars when you're up towards the front. So you'd be breathing a little bit of sigh of relief for the start, I would imagine.
Yeah, normally I'm in the back end of the teens, so it's a bit nicer being in the top 10. But yeah, we'll see how we go.
Mate, thanks for having a chat with us. Good luck. And we'll let you get focused and get ready for the start. But that chariot looks amazing, mate, and let's hope it goes as fast as how it looks, mate, because that really looks good. So all the best, buddy, and hopefully we talk to you at the end of the night.
Thanks, mate. Yeah, hopefully I get to talk to you again soon.
Cheers, Berkey. There you go, Scotty. So, I don't know. I think the Lobs boys might be starting to send some death threats your way, buddy, if you start positioning our cameras on their front splitters. I tell you, you better look out. We might be looking for a lead commentator for the next round. But here we go. It's going to be a cracking race. All silliness aside, really looking forward to this one. And no doubt there's some pretty excited drivers on the grid, as we can see as we check towards the rear end of the field. And everyone's excited and pumped for this one.
Yeah, if anyone knows of anyone who offers bodyguard and legal aid, I might have use of some services. Righto, ladies and gentlemen, 2 minutes to get your thoughts in from watching along at home. So far, we've shown off quite a number of quick-looking hot rods, but I think the bigger thing is how fantastic they look from the over-the-top shot. Hobbo's car stands out, and stands out quite well in the top right-hand corner of that shot too. I think they just all pop. That love and a little bit of appreciation as the flyby happens a little bit down and deeper into the field. Have a consideration for the cars that are going to do a standing start on the lean down the hill here. Line lockers will come into play. But who's going to do a standing start on a kink is going to be a troubling thing. The whole field all the way back up to the Fox Factory Bridge. Zachary Trey White takes pole position is the story to come out of qualifying one. With 1 minute and 10 seconds left on the clock. Ladies and gentlemen at home, I'd love to invite you to get involved in the conversation. Let us know anywhere that you are watching this stream on. We go out to Facebook, we go out to YouTube, we go out to a number of different organisational pages as well. Buy into the conversation. Is sim racing and supercars one of the best things on the planet because you can get in and get involved? Or, mate, is it sometimes better on TV? I know, Sam, man, you love to have a crack at things. That race format, 15 laps here tonight, no pit stop required, and you've got to go hard. How far do you think you're going to press on early? You reckon you're going to burn them up?
Well, it all depends on the start and how you go, who's around you, what sort of position you get, if you get bowled wide and all the rest of it. So
actually, we need a cut to the weather readout. There is a massive bank of cloud on its way, and the rain, if it gets here, will be heavy.
Yeah.
10 seconds to the start. Who's going to have a car that's going to be quick in the dry? Who is catered for the rain that might necessarily be on its way? Will it get here in time? 15 laps is the duration. The revs will come on in just a moment. They'll start to rise and we will get set for the first race start of 2 here in 2026. The green lights start to come on, and here comes the launch. 2026 in Road Atlanta. What's the story that we've got on board for us? Warboys didn't get a great getaway. Have a look at them crawling out of the final corner as well as they all slip and slide. Will the rain make it here? Who will make ground early on? Red train line leads us into turn 1. Phil Sells grabs spots on the opening lap. Anderson down to the wars with Robbie Gibbs, who's really throwing the metal to car 77. Down loses 2 spots. Starts on the front row. He crawls out of there.
A little bit of contact back in the field, but that's what we expect when you got everyone out. Elbows out, everyone still managed to keep it straight, but down, just give up a couple of spots. I don't think he'd be too stressed at the moment. Phil Sell got a great jump, but Robbie Gibbs was taking that opportunity to get past down.
Kastanov's just gone around out at turn 5. There's a big wreck in between turn 5 and turn 6. Number of cars. One of the Lobs Esports cars was in it. Might have been Newman. Might have been one of those cars that was a little bit deeper in the field. Might be McMillan. There it goes back into the fence once more. Looks like everyone's managed to clear the scene. Don't necessarily think we're going to see ourselves a safety car out of that one. Now down the back straightaway for the first time in 38 journeys here tonight. And immediately moves being thrown. Is that Gilliam through from 12th spot? Deep inside the top 10. No, my apologies. It's Luke Rosella who was missing up towards it. Gilliam's gained 1 on the opening lap. Looks like Briggs is on the advance. There's a little bit of contact there into the rear bar now. For Maloney. Manages to hang on to it. Lawford goes through. Caples had contact on the opening lap. Something's being called through.
Dropped a bunch of spots there, but lucky to still keep it straight. Oh, they're going to dive in here. Not 3 wide, turn 1. They thought better of it. Oh, almost some argy-bargy there, but they got away with it.
And I think Ryan O'Sullivan's just had a crack at Luke Rosella as well. I think he just nicked a spot. Rosella was deeper inside the top 5. So he's had some sort of drama. on this lap. They've all managed to just about survive and get through. There's still 2x2 deeper back in the pack. Keeping an eye on Rick Kuznetsov, has had to come from the rear end of the field. Brad Ratchu's got damage all over the rear end of his car. Stenberg's been in the wars as well. They all try and fire their way in. Up at the front end of town. Margins are starting to close. And this is the battle pack between Hayden Veld, Sam Blacklock, Matt Bowler. Blacklock the car at the front end of this one, the 2 Eclipse class. Veld and Bowler in that order.
Mate, the tempo has definitely stepped up. If we go back to this replay, this is Maloney and Veld. So side by side, he gets a little bit of a touch here, and that's what unsettles the car. Gets off onto the grass, lucky to hold on to it, gives up a bunch of spaces. But unfortunately, yeah, that little bit of a tag cost him a heap, but he still managed to get going.
But he wasn't clear, and he tried to turn across the nose, like there wasn't a car on his inside. So there'll be a moment in that. That's Warboys and Rosella into each other. That one's just been called through to race control, so the stewards will have their hands busy here tonight. Phil Sell goes fastest lap of the race out of P2. And at the moment, I can tell you, Rattray White and Phil Sell are not fans of each other. In other series around the country, they have had their moments already this far into 2026. They do not like each other, do not necessarily get on. So will we see that play out on our screens here tonight? Rattray White's had podiums. He hasn't cracked a goose egg yet. He would love to win one. He would just love to tick that box off. And if it can happen early in 2026, what can he do from a championship perspective?
He's doing everything right at the moment. What he needs to do is almost flick the mirror up and not look at his rear view, and that's easier said than done. But just concentrate on hitting his marks, and we know what Phil Sell's like. Phil Sell's the kind of driver that he's prepared to hang back for a couple of laps, maybe 5-10 laps or whatever the case may be. Different story tonight being a sprint race. It's only a 15-lapper, so he will probably pounce earlier, but it's not unlike him. Just sit back for a little while and pounce when the time's right.
What about guys that are cutting their way through the field? Remember, a couple guys coming from the rear end at the moment trying to make ground up. And there's going to be doors banged all the way down into the chicane. Chiefs versus Logitech. So it's Logitech G versus Logitech G on the sides of those cars. But they are not teammates, even though there's spots of support. It's Bo Albert and Capel going toe-to-toe. Capel's tumbling down the list because of something that happened on lap number 1. Rick Kuznetsov's just gone side by side through the final corner with teammate Rain Campbell. And now he's trying to hold off Marcel Rivera in behind, blocking down the main straightaway into turn 1. But Keita's there in the rear of this one. Chastanov right there and trying to find something as well.
Side by side through the S's here. It's always hold your breath a little bit because it's so easy. Like that, I was just about to say, it's easy to get up on the curb and make the car just push a little bit wide. So it wasn't intentional to get into the car. But unfortunately, as soon as you get up on 2 wheels, the car does move around a little bit. So they both got away with it.
Now it's starting to crawl all up. This is Sam Blacklock. That's a look at the rear view mirror. Probably a look at some timing, a little bit of a think. There's nothing on there. Look at the eyes scanning. There'll be a little bit of a look at data. There'll be an engineer in his ear. And all of a sudden, Hayden Veld picks up a little bit of toe. He'll go to the inside for the kick. It'll be the outside when they get to the chicane, at least for the entry. If he can hang it around the outside on the entry, no, completes the pass before they get there. So Blacklock opts to just let that one go and slot in.
Almost like we can hold our breath a little bit or get a breath now. Oh, let's take a move up the inside here. That's going to be close on Berkey. So Luke Rosella, they're going to find it out as we go on board. And he's got the inside move here. Berkey just gave him enough. Good driving there by both of them. Of course, the tempo's picked up a little bit. Like we said, it's a sprint race. 15 laps, no pit stops. So they know they're quickly running out of time. 10 laps to go in this one. And you really can't afford to give up too many spots, but really good give and take there between Berkey and Rosella.
Lincoln, you'll miss it, is what the course is going to be tonight. Race 2, there will be 1 pit stop to come our way, expecting tyres maybe halfway through, about lap 11, lap 12. But for this one, it's all-out sprint race, and Brad Newman's start of the night not gone well. 15-second penalty for turning Chastanov, I believe. And so saw Chastanov backwards between turn 5 and turn 6 on the opening lap. Adam Briggs, though, is ready for a boxing match at the moment. Damon Woods just ahead of him, struggling for a little bit of pace. And Emily Jones in behind him. Look at the queue of cars, all trying to find something, anything. Oh,
racing moving around, just coming on that last corner.
And I'll dive into turn one. Big thing is time is quickly starting to run away from us. But at the moment, the weather is looming. For where we are right now, though, it's not going to hit us unless something happens. If that safety car comes into play, then we might see something. It's going to hit the back straight first. It's sort of coming from driver's left, going down the back straightaway. So it'll be... Sorry, my apologies. We'll be... Yeah. So driver's left, heading down the back straightaway is where they're going to see it. So you might see it in the background of this shot. Clouds on the income over the trees. No, not necessarily going to get that look at it. But that's what it's looking at. And that's heavy. Very, very heavy.
Yeah, there'll be a few drivers thankful that this is only a 15-lap race, I think, because... yeah, I don't know that'll... Yeah, you can see just in the background how, you know, the sky contrast is so different from the start of the lap. So I think they'll be a little bit grateful. I don't think it'll make us in time, but like you said, if we get a safety car, it could definitely change things.
In that yellow section, I don't think that's going to hit us either. There's not really enough time to get that. That will be diabolical. If you can probably do a couple laps whilst it's that light blue. If that green hits, you will need to be on a wet tyre. But if there's one lap left, you're just gonna risk it. Yeah, you're gonna take that chance.
Yeah, exactly right. And there'll be enough temperature in the racetrack and your tyres just to get away with it for those first couple of laps. But like I said, thankful for these drivers that it's only a 15-lapper.
Righto, movers and shakers up and down the field. Wayne Walker's grabbed 5 spots. Rain Campbell's up 8 from the rear end of the field. To this point in time, inside the top 10, there's a bunch of guys that grabbed 1 spot. Madison Downs, the big loser earlier on. Luke Rozella's the other one. Damon Woods is +3 to this point in time. Margin for the lead has actually opened up just a little bit as we go to these guys at the moment. That's Gilliam getting harassed and pushed along by Damon Woods. He squares off. He just can't drive off the corner. Now he's safe. Now he can just relax the whole way out the track.
That was just a little bit of braille for, you know, like a bit more pace. I'd like to get past you, but Gilliam's like, no, got the good run. But look at the pace that he's got now here. Woods just getting a little bit of that toe. He's obviously going to think about a dive up the inside, but that's more just to unsettle Gilliam a little bit. He was probably way too far back to throw a dive, but always good to move around in the mirror to have the driver second guessing.
And have a look at the difference in performance between those two race cars as well. Middle of the corner, Woods has got so much grip. Exit of the corner, all of a sudden Gilly could just get into the throttle significantly better. Madison Down gets the job done on Robbie Gibbs. This is for P3 and P4.
It's crucial for him after the disasters of round number 1 that we've already spoken about. Pretty much 2026 for him starts tonight, so he really needs some good finishes for both races.
And Robbie Gibbs has slid 1 further spot. That's Warboys now up to P4. Now, I think the stewards are still looking at the incident between Warboys and Luke Rosella. We didn't get enough shots that sort of told enough of a picture. He just struggled to put it up there, hasn't he? And then he's compromised from the exit.
He's on the dirty part of the racetrack too, so he was a sitting duck, and unfortunately just couldn't do much about it. Warboys was coming through with a great note of knocks, but there's still time to get it back. Now Woods and Gilliam there having their tussle down the back straightaway.
Well, this has changed. This has changed hands. This is now Damon Woods ahead of Andrew Gilliam. So he's got the job done on this lap. Down the back straightaway. He's not on the inside either. And Gilliam's like, right, I've got to run. Ruffles him up as he gets there. You hear the cars just hit the rev limiters at the end of the back straightaway, side by side. Into the chicane. Covers him off at the apex. He's going to get a tap in the rear bar.
Check him out.
Hurry up. Right, you've got the spot. Now do something with it, is what Andrew Gilliam's saying.
Well, Woods was smart. He just checked it up a little bit mid-corner, so he didn't give that chance that Gilliam could have tried to get in underneath him. So that was good, smart racing. So Woods just needs maybe a few corners just to settle in and maybe break that, you know, that mould away from Gilliam. And he's hoping that the Briggs and everyone else will give him a little bit of curry so he can be eyes forward and take off.
Half race distance and beyond, and that rain starts to loom. Could there be spicks and specks as we travel down the back straightaway at Road Atlanta with 7 to go? If there's 5 to go and it's only that wall of light blue, you're just going to stick it out, aren't you? You're sort of committed.
You have to, yeah. I think, yeah, for what you could gain. And if you pit, like you said, it could just turn your race upside down and you know, it doesn't get heavy enough. And It's a roll of the dice, but absolutely, if you're up towards the front, you're going to stay out.
Think about the qualifying series and who called that well. It was Lachlan Capel. I think Brad Newman also called it well. There was a number of drivers back at Hockenheim in pre-qualifying and on the way into this one. Could they all of a sudden throw a master stroke? I think the whole field will stay out, and then it just becomes the dance on ice, supercars on ice, the stage show. They'll be selling tickets to that one at a rate of knots. Someone clearing the front end of their windscreen and picks up just a margin worth of left tyres in the dirt. Dylan Rudd will lose a spot to Hayden Veld. Veld on the way through the field now, starting to pick off a couple spots. He's cleared Blacklock, now he's cleared Rudd. Is that another car in the background? It was. Matt Bowler had a crack at Sam Blacklock at turn 1. It's the Blacklock going backwards at the moment. They'll all settle themselves out. It looks like Blacklock's race pace isn't necessarily all that fantastic.
It's those clouds you were talking about, Scotty. So it's looming, but with 6 laps to go, I don't know that it's going to have too much of an impact. But I don't know, that radar's moving quickly. Look at it. It's almost on top of that black dot now. So
dance harder.
It's coming.
Dance harder, Sandman. Dance harder. Get it here quicker. Get out there and blow those clouds over this way. Please, please. Let them get here. Let them dump. And look at the mist. All of a sudden, it's got a lot darker on that back straightaway. Just a little bit more hint of fog. A little bit more hint of the elements and their transition towards the racetrack. Robbie Gibbs has refound his speed and driven back up to Blake Warboys. This one could start to go the way the Chiefs esports driver in the background. Josh Anderson's immediately starting to have to come after the inside line. It was twinkling on the front straightaway. That's rain. There is rain. The heavens have started to open.
5 laps to go. They have to stay out. For these front runners, you really have to stay out. And you think,
you
can see it. The drops are on the camera.
That's halfway across the racetrack. It's all over the racetrack at this point in time. Slicks, they've got temperature. Now it's down to driving talent. Who made a compromise on the setup? Who's going to start to find some time? You'll see the cars go quicker for a lap here. But if this comes down heavily, we're under 5 to go. This time by, there'll be 4 laps to go. That is 6 minutes. We are under 6 minutes in this one. I think in about 4 minutes' time, we're going to have heavy rain. The last lap and a half is going to be diabolical for these guys. Keep an eye on the wheel work. Who's got grip at this point in time? Who's willing to gamble?
This is where it's so easy for these drivers to lock a tyre and give up position. And we were talking about Zach Ratcho White going for the win. The conditions have just been thrown right against him. Not only has he got Phil Cell to contend with, but he's got Mother Nature as well. That's the last thing you want to happen when you're trying to chase down the checker.
0.3 of a second for the race leaders. Phil Cell's now started to track back down Zach Rattray White. He would love to tick that box off. If there's anyone that's going to be a wet master, Rattray White and Damon Woods are your expected targets. Who's going to find some time? Remember Hayden Veld back at Sandown. Potential for speed. Warboy's going to find a 5-second penalty. That was for the contact with Luke Rosella. So that one's finally been resolved. It gets back out over 0.4 of a second, just about. So Phil Cell's made a micro mistake and loses a couple hundredths.
Be interested to see an onboard camera just to see what the drivers are contending with and how much water's on the windshield. There we go. So it's decent. It's enough to make these drivers sweat it out a little bit.
Lap times. Best lap times in the session, 1:21.248. Last time by. What were most of them running? 21.9, 22.4, 22.5. The front two is still a 21.7, so the track hasn't fallen off all that hard at the moment. Light rain hits the circuit. There'll be 3 more laps left to run. For Zach Rattray White, if you think he just runs, just keep going, keep going. This will stress drivers to the max. I'm keeping an eye on Damon Woods' handiwork at the moment. I just saw him have to correct in the braking zone. It's coming down, but it's not going to be enough at the moment. There's spray from the rear tyres.
Yep. That's exactly what I was waiting for you to take a breath and say that's what you need to look for. As soon as you start to see the spray from the tyres, that's when we know that these drivers have got something to deal with. And that's just starting to happen now as we're on board there with Jared Philsell.
And the margin, it fell off about another 2/10 on that lap time, just keeping a very, very firm eye on the timing charts. As soon as you see those times start to tumble. But the problem is it's got to fall off a long way. Rain at Road Atlanta. What's the second session got for us? I think it's going to be dry for the back half of the night. But it's becoming significantly more tricky.
And what they're going to be careful is they use a lot of curb here. We can see Philcell and these boys up on the curb as they exit. They really need to be careful of that as these laps go on because it's going to get wetter and wetter and they will become like a slip and slide.
More spray down the back straight, but it's not enough. It's not enough. The tyres have got temperature. You want to stay with a tyre that's got temperature at this point in time.
He's had a wiggle. He's gone.
Went in deep at the chicane. He's going to hurry up. Jared Philcell can't put the power down at the other side. Philcell's going to get to his inside. He's there. He's arrived on scene. Jared Philcell goes through. And for Zach Rattray White, changeable conditions, finally makes a mistake. Philcell will capitalise.
Here he goes. He's going to go up the side. He's going to make that side. Trying to get up the inside. Almost did it.
Wayne Burke has just jumped the pit lane to throw wet tyres on. With 2 laps left to run. That's suicide for me. Homo's in, Hobson's in. They're all starting to crawl. Times just fell off by 3 seconds. Times just massively fell off. The rain's here. It's very, very heavy now.
There's
all
not
of a sudden, the grip's going to start to go away. You've caught him back up. They're all starting to come back to each other. O'Reilly's in. This is chaos with 2 to go. A big, big call. This needs to absolutely bucket down, and cars need to be going off the circuit left, right, and centre is the only way there's something in this. Philcell's got some speed. Madison Down's gone for maybe a hybrid setup. These two have boxed on. There is about 6 Ks left in this motor race. The track is going away from these drivers. This is down to handiwork. Who is going to send it? You nearly don't want to lead at this point in time, Sandman. You are taking all the risk. The guy behind just watches and goes, that was too deep. That was too deep. That was too late.
Philcell's happy, but he's going to make a dive. Zach Rattray White's going to go up to the inside. He's not going to be able to stop him. Great move.
He will.
He will. Curb, though. I don't know if you're going to slow down for that. Oh, he's got sideways down. He's going to capitalise. Could we go 3 wide? No way. Down backs out of it. It's still Philcell. This is the white flag. Philcell, Zach Rattray White, Madison Down.
They're into the 28s. Fastest lap of the night. 21.248. And in race trim, they're into the 28s. The whole lot of them. High 28s, 27 flat. David Woods has got a race car underneath him. He's got speed at the moment. There's damage on the rear bar now for Zach Rattray White. 4Ks becomes 3Ks. And they are asking for the tyres to maintain some temperature. Philcell leads. Madison Down's there. Rattray White, the headlights come on. And we're now staring through the gloom at Road Atlanta. Turn 5, up and across it. Do you touch the curb out the other side? No, they're all being a little bit tricky with it. Cars are crawling, Sandman. Crawling in the background. David Woods is going for a bunch of spots at the moment. He gets to the inside of James Scott in the background. Rattray White, so Warboy, Blake Warboy's starting to lose spots. David Woods has cut through about 4 cars on this lap. Now he's getting to the rear bumper of Josh Anderson and he'll get into the rear bumper. Last lap, last car, last straight. As they crawl out of turn 7. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? They said there was a chance of rain. They didn't say it was going to be a hurricane. But Jared Philcell, at the moment he's got track position. Here comes Reggie White, one last gap. No, it'll be a last gap. He won't get there. Get to the rear bar. Does he get into him as they get out of here? Another shot for David Wood. Rattray White around into the last corner. No way. No way. Throws that one away. Philcell will find just the right amount of temperature in the tyres and get it done.
Down second. Oh my goodness. What a finish to this race. Mother Nature played her part. Unbelievable.
Blake Warboys will get home, but gets the 5-second time penalty, which means he won't finish on the podium of that one. He loses so many spots. They all got so close together. Back into the top 10 will be actually Andrew Gillian, will be the last car home in 10th spot. They're still trying to find grip somewhere out there. That's Wayne Burke. He was inside the 10. That's a losing move for Burke.
There just wasn't enough laps. Oh, I can see cars just struggling to stay on the racetrack, but there just wasn't enough laps for those tyres to capitalise. So
one more lap? One more lap?
No, I still don't think there's enough because there's so much ground that you lose. You're looking at 30 seconds to gain. So, yeah. Never mind. There we go, Jared Field. So what an absolute cracker of a race. That's a sprint race just to get ourselves warmed up for the 23 lapper ahead with a compulsory pit stop. But Mother Nature definitely had her part. And Zach Ratcho White, how gut-wrenching for him. He was on for a win, then for P2, and unfortunately the car got away from him, and, mate, his night turned to custard.
Oh, my word. The interesting thing is, I just went and had a look at Burke's lap time on the final lap. It was a 30.592. Phil said was still a tenth of a second faster, but he had to overtake a bunch of cars. He was 5 seconds faster on that lap.
Phil so enjoying the conditions. Don't think it up, mate. Still got another race to go.
Oh, he's really hit the fence there. Yeah, this is the final corners.
Oh, he just had a red hot go. And look, he's tried to get on the power. He's got on it, and it's just cars got away from him. Madison Down's gone, you beauty. I think Madison Down might have got a slowdown when all that kerfuffle was going on, but I guess the only thing that he can take away from that is that Blake Warboys unfortunately had that penalty, so he will get, I think he'll finish top 5, Zach Ratcho White. So
like, if it's less than 2 laps, mate, forget it. It's going to be slow. It's going to be. You need sort of 3 laps, I reckon, at the minimum of post crossover.
But with the torrential, they've got to make up 30 seconds, from stationary, getting the tyres on, coming back out, and then to close up that margin. It's just, unfortunately, there just wasn't enough laps. But, Scotty, we always say with the threat of rain that we get excited and hope that it'll play its part. It normally doesn't, but tonight it did.
I think you and I got to a point where we both gave up hoping. We both gave up.
Here we go.
And that's when it happens. So this is, I think, Philippa Bokita. No, this is on board. Sorry, my apologies. Damon Woods. We're going to take a ride on board. So car 74 on the outside. So we're going to see how many cars he gets by. There's one. And it'll be the Chiefs Esports car just ahead of him. I think that might have been James Scott just ahead of him here as he gets out of turn 1. So inside the 10 now from outside. I think he started, 15th. So massive amounts of gain for Damon Woods.
Oh, you can see the cars moving around in front of him. So what you do here is you just concentrate on your own race. Don't worry about, you can see everyone just struggling. Oh, mate, he just got enough gap there to go up the inside here. So he peels off another one. It's all about your throttle control, not putting it down too seriously. He's going to make a dive here. That's Anderson in front of him. And this is where he gets the power down. I thought he actually had a better run out of there, but tucked in behind. Still not getting, still got to get my head around the fact that Anderson's in a Mustang now. Obviously, a lot to do with his real world commitments running the Mustang Cup.
He's not giving that inside back to him, is he? He absolutely wants to cover it off, but also the slip line over on the inside. Anderson deep out here, and there's Ratcho White ahead of him, so he cuts his teammate a break here and lets Ratcho White back into the queue. Gets away with that one. So that's what the wild ride through the pack was like. And have a look at the cats and dogs that are falling from the heavens now that race 1's over. Mate, brilliant. 5 minutes earlier. 5 minutes earlier.
Maybe I should have done that rain dance.
Jared Filster from Madison Down at the head end of the field from Blake Warboys home in P3. He will get 5 seconds added to his time. Won't finish in the top 10 after that 5-second penalty, by the way. That's how tight it was when the heavens started to open, so it went off real quick. Robbie Gibbs gets promoted to 3rd from Josh Anderson. Ratcho White goes from fighting for the lead to 6th spot, ahead of Damon Woods, James Scott, Ryan O'Sullivan, Andrew Gilliam round out the top 10. So we're looking for 8.970 seconds for where Warboys will drop out. That's nice and easy. We're in a P11 promote Rosella inside the top 10, and it will actually reverse. Rosella was the car that went around and into the gravel trap off the nose of Warboys. So that actually works out somewhat conveniently. Hayden Veld pronounces himself a little bit of a Sandown master and perhaps a rain master home into 12th spot for him. Emily Jones, Dylan Rudd, Sam Blacklock back to 15th spots to gain some spots in the dying stages in the wet conditions. Matt Bowler from Jake Burton, Maloney. Briggs falls a mile down in those changeable conditions into 19th, and Thomas McMillan to 20th spot. Outside the 20, we'll get back to Angus Lawford from Tom Frere. Bettis, Pereira, Bo Albert found some ground for him. Will Sapstead, Andre Heimgartner, Capel fell a long way, all the way back to 28th. Kurt Stenberg from Jordan Mazzaroli. Wayne Walker and James Chastanoff. I think the first of the cars home was Wayne Burke that stopped for wet tyres ahead of Marcelo Rivera. Kuznetsov home in 34th spot. Burke did pit. Ratu did not. Philippa Bokito, I think, might have been one of those drivers that did pit. Dan Polton, Jacob O'Reilly and Brenton Hobson home in 40th spot. I mean, the call was trying to make yourself look like a master. Brady Myers home in 41st spot. He's having an off night from Rain Campbell, Brad Newman, and Ryan Jones, the length of the field. That is race number 1 of a 2-race calendar for the evening. Road Atlanta and the heavens have opened in race number 1. We're going to step away for a few moments, and we will be back with some more as practice kicks off for race number 2 in the background right now.
You've always felt it. That spark, that pull. Watching the greats carve through history. Every turn, risk, reward. Now you don't just watch. You step inside. You take the wheel. Together, we're breaking barriers between sim and sport. Setting a new standard for performance. So with the power in your palms, the roar in your ears, and the position of a pro, let's turn dream to drive and play to podium. Our legacy, now yours. Welcome to the grid.
Hi, I'm Jado Jada. I currently race GT3 in Australia. It's a cool brand. The socks and the gloves are quite cool, and it's good to use on the sim. High quality materials, and most importantly, comfortable. Quite cool to feel all the bits doing their job, and it was good.
Well, after the wet weather fell down hard at the tail end of race number 1, unfortunately, you open it up for race number 2 and blue skies abound. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back for race number 2 from round number 2 and the Logitech V8 Pro Invitational Series. And I tell you what, Sandman, the voice is worn out because it was flying thick and fast at the end of that session. And the rain, just add water. That's all you need. Just add a little bit of water, and all of a sudden, well, that actually was a fair amount of water, to be fair, but you add that, and all of a sudden, the racing just gets a whole lot better.
Absolutely. Closing laps of a race, drivers at the ready, and they got their hearts pounding, a little bit of bit of moisture on the racetrack and some slick tyres, it's always an absolute recipe for a brilliant finish. And tell you what, Jared Filso will be pretty stoked with that one, and I think he'd be pretty happy now that he's got some blue skies above him in this server for race number 2.
Well, it's a change of times, a change of temperatures. This earlier session was all done up about 9:15 a.m. in the sim for qualifying, a little bit later than that for the race. This one is about 2 o'clock in the sim at the moment as the qualifying groups. Rick Kuznetsov served his rear of field penalty in race number 1. He will be allowed to qualify for race number 2. He won't have to cut it through from the tail end of the field, but the sun is back out at Road Atlanta, and qualifying is back underway as well.
Yeah, well, kudos to all our drivers too. That last race, that could have absolutely been chaos, but they did a brilliant job. You know, it's never fun when you're in the thick of it and you're trying to get a race win, as we saw Zach White just the pressure of trying to hold on and take that win, and then Mother Nature plays its part. But it would have been so easy to see 20 odd cars off into the wall, and debris and wheels and everyone throwing their toys out of the cot. But they did a brilliant job, and it goes to show the talent we've got in our Logitech series. And I think now they're thankful that Mother Nature has disappeared for a little while, and that beautiful sun shines on the racetrack, and now they've got some dry conditions to play with.
The tricky thing though is, as we head into spring over in the Northern Hemisphere, 52.8 degrees Celsius in terms of track temp for qualifying number 2. So what's the times? We're quick and fast, and we set a Gen 3 lap record here in qualifying trim earlier on. This one is going to be an absolute scorcher. 53 degrees as it's climbed up just another couple of ticks to start qualifying number 2. And the first drivers that are going to be in that queue to get the lap in as well is going to be Brad Newman from Rick Kuznetsov, and Ryan Jones will be the trio at the front end here.
It's an amazing stat to think about what the drivers were dealing with in the previous server. It was 19 degrees with 23 track temp, and now we're looking at 27 degrees with a 53 track temp. Like it's gone from one extreme to the other. Good bit of braille.
Was there a touch there? Because if it is, both laps get aborted for both of those drivers. And Newman's going to end up bailing out of that lap altogether. Ryan Jones will try and make some advantage as well. Look at the flashing of the headlights in the background as well. Is that Stenberg? I think it was one of the TTR cars. It's in that group. It's Andre Heimgartner that's on the flashes down the back straightaway as well. It'll be interesting to see if Kuznetsov and Newman both peel off in the pit lane. There was contact between the two cars.
What's going on with it?
Brad Newman will try for a qualifying lap this next time by. For Rick Kuznetsov, he sticks it together. It's a 1:22.934. Far cry from where the pace was in that first session. The lap didn't count from Rick.
No.
It did not go to the timing sheet, so something wrong there. There might have actually been a touch worth of contact between the two drivers as well. Matthew Bowler's going to be the first driver to jump up to the top of the timing sheets in this one, 21.942. They're about 1.3 seconds slower than they were in the previous session. Downs not quite got the point in the race car in the hotter conditions. Mazzaroli puts a 22.7 together. A little bit deeper in the field. Yeah, both Kuznetsov and Brad Newman both didn't get a lap on the board, which says to me that there was contact between the two of those guys.
It's easy. This is one of these frustrating racetracks, that last corner where you get on the throttle to run to the finish line. It's so easy just to get the tyres just that little bit on the left-hand side of the racetrack and touch the grass and have your lap deleted. So I don't know that both of them would have done it. I think you're right where you said they came together, so that's how both their laps probably disappeared. But this racetrack's so easy to lose a time at that very last corner as an off-track. You can see just how close, as we see Rick Kuznetsov now this time by, how close they get to the ripple strip and the grass. Thankfully for him, that lap counted with a 22.4, and that pops him into 12th spot.
Yeah, so we put that one together. Rick Kuznetsov also sticks the lap together as well. Brad Newman only good enough for 18th spot at the moment. Mazzaroli coming through. He will get back to pit lane to do a reset and have a crack. Chastanov back to pit lane as well. 14th spot for him at the moment. Wayne Walker, 17th spot. So definitely a lack of grip and speed in this second session.
Well, for those guys, essentially, that was a 2-lap run because they obviously, that first lap didn't count, so they pushed on with it. So I guess for Rick to be 12th on his second push lap isn't probably too bad considering.
And only half a second away as well. So there'll be potentially be a fair bit of time gain in that one. That might be good enough to throw him right up the top of Group 1. And at the moment, that's Stenberg cutting his way through the final corner. See if he can get the lap on the table this time of asking. They're not going to get the world of light, but have a look at the slight little adjustment from Stenny at turn 1. The men at work. A unique art of the seating position. Do you reckon he's winning any awards for ergonomics?
No, but I hope he's got a good chiropractor. It works for him though. I mean, I can't comment because I actually don't pay attention to how I'm up on the wheel. So I might be just the same, but everyone's unique, and that's what makes us who we are. And you can see he's just trying to get the nose pointed in. And he's almost willing it with his neck. Get around the corner. Come on, get on the power.
See the big deep breath and the lift and relax of the shoulders as you come off the corner there as well. There's definitely a thought, a focus in the head of, all right, reset, make sure you pull the car up down here. Gets down the apex of 10A, turns it in. You've got to be right there and use all the curb on both sides of the road. There's a bump in the curb on the right-hand side at 10B, which can unsettle the car if you angle it incorrectly.
Get it in, hold on to it.
Tip in.
Good job, Steve.
All the track on the exit as well. 22...
P10.
385. We'll sell him up to P10.
And a huge shout out to Stenny who gives us those pictures, and thank you to all our drivers that give us those camera shots, because it really just adds a different element to our broadcast, and we love seeing it. So keep them coming, and if anyone's thought about doing it, absolutely do it. Get your camera feed to us, and we'll gladly incorporate it into our broadcast because we love it.
In the meantime, though, Andre Heimgartner working with Brent Hobson in behind him down the back straightaway. A little bit of draft assistance. You'll wind all the way up in 6th gear before you hit the braking zone down the end here. Tip it in. And they really understeer at this last chicane, don't they? They just don't want to tip in at all when he hard in there on the anchors. Heimgartner will dive to pit lane. Hobson will continue on to try and slap the lap together. It's all out of shape and a little bit of a slide at the final corner. 22.024. Only a 10th away. Not even a 10th away from pole position in this first pass of the session. But in the meantime, Bo Albert's been out of form. He will improve, but he's not going to be the only one as Madison Down finds some time as well. And that says to me, this racetrack is still taking rubber to it.
Yeah. Well, Burton jumped up there, so he's P2 as well. So Bo Albert 3rd, Matty Bowler 4th, Marcelo Rivera in 5th. So still plenty of time if they can find it in these dying moments of this session, obviously split up into 2 sessions.
And I reckon it's taking rubber. Have a look at the surface. It's not as dark as it was in the other session. Had a lot of running on it. There's a car off at the hairpin. At this point in time, Marcelo Rivera's had to abort a lap. Run it in a fraction deep. Down at turn 7 for Wayne Walker. It's a wild ride to the start-finish line. Is he going to find some time? Yes, he will. Finds about 4 hundredths of a second. Sorry, 4/10ths of a second. My apologies. To 14th spot. Rick Kuznetsov is going to improve massively. Yes, there was a lot of time left in that lap from Rick.
Well done.
All the way up to P5 and within 0.2 of a second of Madison Down. I reckon the last lap of the session is going to be the best one. And I reckon it's that rubber.
Yeah, I think these guys will be spewing that they're not in the second group, because I think they're probably the ones going to capitalise it, depending on if that track temperature really arcs up a bit. But the differences in servers, we saw that there was obviously there was probably an hour practice session, I think, leading up to our previous qualifying session. So that's why the track was a lot darker. And you're right, I think this one will just get better and better as the laps go down.
Heimgartner now with an opportunity. Bowler in behind. This will be it. seconds left on the timer to start your final lap. 3, 2, 1. And he will not quite make that line. Brenton Hobson's had it off through the S's. His final lap won't count in group number 1 of race 2 for the evening. Wayne Walker, his final opportunity. I think this was a warm-up lap and a build lap for him, so he'll go straight back into pit lane for Walker. He won't get another lap in. Ryan Jones will attempt to get to pit lane as well. Kuznetsov only had one opportunity in that session to have a crack at it. Newman in behind might have been the reason for that one. Sapsted's on a crawl back to pit lane. Jordan Mazzaroli looks like he might be on a flyer. There's about 4 or 5 guys that are still on a lap in the middle of all this. Will Angus Lawford be one of them? No, it'll be into pit lane for Gus Lawford. Yes, that might even be it. I think that's the bulk of the cars that we were expecting that would be on a lap. Hobson did get out there and start another flyer, but it was off track through the S's, unfortunately. Philippa Bokita looking for a little bit more pace. Will find some speed on that second lap, but it count. Matthew Bowler. Bowler's gone to P2 in the session, and it was a wild ride to the start-finish line.
Oh, Stenberg!
P3!
P3! That lap counted!
Actually, technically, that lap should not count.
Oh, well. He won't be arguing with the timing system, I tell you.
He'd be pointing to the timing system and say, it's right there, it's on the board, it will count.
Wow.
For Madison Down, though, 21.744 will take the provisional pole position after the first half of group qualifying. 13 minutes on the clock at the moment from Bowler. Stenberg has a question mark next to that one. Jake Burton, Bo Albert, Rick Kuznetsov, Marcelo Rivera, Brent Hobson, Will Sapsted, and Dylan Rudd home inside the 10. Another half of this qualifying session to come. Betts, Freer, Lawford, Polton, Heimgartner. Lawford actually found a little bit of time. That's not too bad for him. Sam Blacklock didn't get a great lap together for himself. Ryan Jones deeper in the field. And both of those guys would have liked for sure John Mazzaroli and Wayne Walker in 20th spot. 0.7 of a second covering that first group. Guys all the way back to just under a second back to Brad Newman and Pip Bokita to outside of the 20. But I think there will be some debate about whether the car 47's lap does count. So
if the timing system has grabbed it, I don't know. And well, that's just to show you, that lap from Stenny, he found a massive gain. I don't know where he jumped from, but to jump into P3, I think he was back in the teens. I'm not sure. But that just goes to show how much his track might be evolving. So we'll keep an eye on the track temperature when the other cars roll out in just over a minute and minute 50. But when that session started, it was 27 degrees and 53 degree track temp. So it'll be interesting to see what it'll be like.
But how interesting is it to have group qualifying so early in a series? Obviously Madison Down is very comfortably the duck out of water in that half of the field. But have a look at Bo Albert, Jake Burton's there. There'll be some debate about Stenberg and Bowler, whether or not they should be in the front half of the field or not. But there's definitely a couple of ducks out of water in that bottom half of the field that are certainly making the most of the conditions.
Yeah, and look, at the end of the day, it doesn't mean just because you're in the first group or the second group, whether there is sometimes there's an advantage and sometimes there's not, so it'll work for you and work against you. So, at the end of the day, if you've got pace on board, you can make anything happen. And I think that's what they just need to worry about. So, be interesting though. It's going to make an interesting 10 minutes, I tell you.
45 seconds left before they're released in anger for the remainder of the qualifying session. Track temp has dipped fractionally, about half a degree at this point in time. So it does look like the second half of the session is going to be better for us.
Yep.
But the big thing will be the rubber that goes into that circuit has been applied by 20 supercars at the moment. 20 seconds to go. I haven't heard any debate. I haven't seen any debate about Stenberg and that lap. So that one might have snuck in at this point in time. So he'll claim it. He'll stick his hand up and say, it's on the board, sir.
Yeah, well, look, I think if iRacing have called it and got it, maybe our timing might have been out by half a second or something, but
Yeah,
it was obviously close to the line and it counted. So good on him. But that just shows, I think you really want to be the last car to punch out a lap on this track because it looks like it's evolving. And if it's dropping a little bit in temperature, that will favour these guys, the likes of Phil Sell and Veld that we can see on screen.
Yeah, have a look at them all trying to fight out pit lane. Do you reckon it'll be a slow race to see who can be that last car to stick a lap together at the back end of the session? Or, a couple of cars where the grip's not really going to matter too much, is it?
Yeah, I mean, obviously the first and foremost, they want to do the banker. So get your banker out of the way, make sure you've got a decent marker down, and then chase, possibly how this track evolves. And if you feel it evolving, yeah, you do want to be that last one, but it's a wait and see.
Wayne Burke took a throw at the tyres and a roll of the dice in race 1. Qualifying 2, what's he going to have for us? That one didn't work out, and the points won't show it. Have a look at them all looking for front tyre temperature before they go after this race. We've already burned through a minute on the clock before we get into the real laps in anger. Track temp is up. This is where you earn your money. Well, the points are paid at the back end of races, but it makes it so much easier if you can stick it together at the start of qualifying. Here we go for Group 2 in Session 2. It's going to be the Logitech G Orbit Drop Bear guys at the front end of the field on the queue that fires down into turn number 1. That was cloud cover I can see in the distance again. Please, if it is on offer, I'll take it.
I don't know that we're going to be that lucky this time round, but you never know.
But have a look at those cars are definitely, you can see, actively slower. 1.3 seconds around 4.1 kilometre lap is the difference in conditions. For Dylan Pereira, there's an opportunity to qualify further up the field. At the moment, it's in the offering. A lot of draft will be available for him as he runs down the back straightaway. Car 38 of Ratu. New sim, out of sync, out of water at the moment. Somebody else's rig. Race 1 didn't necessarily go his way. There was damage across car 38. What's race 2? Qualifying 2 got for us. What's Pereira going to be able to show? And Pereira is definitely quicker at the moment. In terms of the sectors, first time's about to come in. Ratu slides it out and across the line. Pereira was a little bit out of shape as well, but kept it in. Inside those boundaries, and the timing chart will slow down as laps feed in. Quick fire, rapid fire. Somebody's nicked pole position. James Scott and Wayne Burke have gone to the top of the tower.
Wow.
Here comes Rosella. What's he going to be able to find? And they'll start to settle down as we get towards the back end of this one. Anderson goes to P4. Somebody went to P2 with Robbie Gibbs.
Wow.
Where's Phil selling all this one?
So as this evolves, you'll keep an eye on Madison down. So P7 now at the moment, and this is only after the first run.
Yeah, Jared Philsell 11th, so wasn't quite able to put the lap together.
Oh, cloud cover. That's going to work for these guys.
Track temperatures died by a degree, a whole degree. It dropped immediately.
Mate, this will kill the guys in the first split. It will absolutely work in everyone's favour for this split 2 of qualifying. And look at the difference in sun over here. We look at Emily Jones. It's a lot brighter here than it was for Jared Philsell's shot towards the end of the lap. And even here, you can see just as it gets progressively darker. So that cloud cover is really going to work in their favour.
Yep.
But this is it.
More rubber. And I tell you what, that we might keep that temperature graph on for a fair while throughout this session because it's just died another degree as well, I can tell you already.
Yeah.
Look at it. Look at the trend on it.
And that's what they don't want to see in split 1. They don't want to see that. But like I said, it could have gone vice versa. It could have worked in their favour or not. So that's just the luck of the draw. And as we saw in race 1, you can't control Mother Nature, and she's playing a part here in qualifying. It's down to 50 degrees. It's dropped 49 degrees now, track temp. Dropped from 53 at the start of this session.
We want to see the heavens open. These guys do not want to see the heavens open, but they do want to see the clouds drift their way over the circuit in terms of qualifying, which means it is literally going to be, you've got to be on this racetrack the whole time. You've got to be, it might be worthwhile abandoning a couple of laps here to try and set up to be the last one to do a lap now. We're talking about in terms of rubber being laid down on the racetrack. Well, now it's the track temperature that'll go that way as well. More grip coming to the racetrack. And it's coming at both angles.
Oh no. Now, Emily's got traffic in front of her. Hopefully she'll catch it at the right part of the racetrack. And these drivers will be looking in their mirror. This is what plagued us for round number 1. It is messy. It was Madison Down that got caught up in a situation like this at round 1. And he got absolutely... Oh, they've moved over. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. Well done to all those drivers. They absolutely did the right thing and took that on board because of the drama that we had from the last round. Well done.
Everyone read that like a book. Emily Jones still gets the opportunity to stick a lap together. Car 44. What's it going to be? Over the rise, down the hill, turn 11 and 12. 21.818 goes right towards the pointy end of the field. I think that's going to be P10 for Emily Jones. Indeed it is. The tricky part is, does she get another lap in? I think she might just have enough time.
She'll head back to the lane and put on a new set of Dunlops, and I think she'll be right. She might be close to being the last car.
She will be that last car, yeah.
But huge kudos to all those drivers that got out of the way. Lessons were learnt from the last round, and I know we gave the drivers a bit of a spray, and they should have done better, and they did. And massive, massive kudos to all those drivers that were involved.
And realistically, this is a track that's actually worse. And that's why the group session is what it is, you know, is because if there's 45 cars out there, that is the whole track, realistically. Spotters and engineers communicating with their drivers rather accurately. Rain Campbell found some speed in the first half of the evening. The second half, what's it got coming our way? Jacob O'Reilly will also duck back into pit lane. Damon Woods found spots at the back end, was one of the bigger movers up and down the field. This one he knows is not going to have any rain. Lachlan Capel goes to P8. Damon Woods looking for a little bit of time. 21.647. I think it's going to be an improvement. Indeed, it is a massive improvement all the way to P3. And it's only by 1,000th of a second in behind Robbie Gibbs. James Scott needs to find time. Currently has provisional pole position. But it's not going to last. He's got to find some sort of improvement. It's going to be an improvement.
Bilsell.
Of course it is. Of course it's Jared Bilsell who finds the bigger time.
Held.
Was that Rhino Sullivan?
Rhino Sullivan now.
I thought I saw that. I saw I read it. And I did. Rhino Sullivan is going to find some time in the Eclipse car. Zach Rattray White's going to be starting his next lap of this one. Is he going to hit that wall of traffic or will now be the next part of this one? And the thing is, times are going to continue to tumble, ladies and gentlemen. What you see on your timing charts is not what we're going to see. Track temp has died another 4 degrees. We're back to 45 degrees Celsius track at the moment. Get that graph. Look at that line. It is. And the grip line is only going up. It's the inverse of that one. Minute on the clock. You've got to be out of pit lane. You've got to be probably about halfway around the track. Probably about where Rattray White is if you're going to get another lap in. He might have the best of the conditions out of anybody. Only Emily Jones, I think, is set up to make a bigger run at things at the moment. So for Zach Rattray White, could it be 2 poles in 2 outings here at Road Atlanta tonight? He's starting to find speed. He's starting to find it consistently and absolutely launches it at the final chicane. 10A, 10B to come. The crest at 11 and then into 12. He'll find drive out the other side. Didn't get an off track on the way to the start-finish line. One more corner. Could car 17 have the car speed to take it all the way? He'll slide it through. 21.5 on the timing charts. It's not going to be enough. It will send him up to P5, but it won't be 2 pole positions from 2 races. Now we'll keep our eyes on, I think 3/4 of the field are not on a flyer. For Jake Maloney, I think he will get to the line to start this one, just.
10 seconds. Now, I wonder if Emily got across the line too. I'm not sure where she is on track at the moment. So, yes,
4,
Jake,
3.
he'll be the last one.
So we're
And
looking for a last gap attempt from Jake Maloney. Car 44 and Emily Jones was up a long way. She's already fallen all the way back to 17th spot, but she is on a lap. For Wayne Burke, we'll be looking to replace the tyres that he chose to put on at the back end of the last one.
A little bit more sunshine around this part of the racetrack too, so that might have fluctuate the track temp a little bit. So it has, so 46, it's gone up a fraction, but still better than what it was, 53 for the start of qualifying for Group 1. Burke's going to park it. Luke Rosella.
I think it's just Emily Jones. And I think it's only Jake Maloney, the only two that can look to really improve here. No, Jacob O'Reilly is going to be on a lap, but that is very wide and using a lot of curb and real estate on the way into that last corner. He looks on the timing sheets like he's going to find 3/10. He will find his way to 13th at the moment. McMillan's on his way into pit lane. Emily Jones comes through, looking for an improvement. She's found a bunch of time. P5 at the moment. Now we watch and wait for Jake Maloney to cut his way through.
He might be... He's had damage. He's got massive damage to the front of that. So his session is over. So Madison Down, who was on provisional pole coming into this session, will start P16. Ryan O'Sullivan will take pole for race number 2. What a turn of events. That car's got a lot of damage front and rear. Here we go. Oh, he's touched the grass. Oh, he's had a massive moment. Holy cow. Well, if you're ever going to do it in quali or practice before the race starts, get it out of your system. So didn't get to improve, but how's the improvement from Emily Jones, P5? Well done, Emily.
Well, it's going to be a big one, and this is the story of the night. We were thinking that Jared Filsell was going to be able to come through and steal pole position. He took one of the two last year. He took both race wins. It's not going to be any pole positions in 2026 from two opportunities of asking. In terms of the race results, though, will be the big question. Can he take it away from race results? It's going to be car number 74. Ryan O'Sullivan, one of the guys that went on the move after the qualifying series, did all the series on board an Evolution Racing Team machine. Since then, he will stamp Eclipse Sim Sports onto pole positions. So it's going to be 2 Eclipse Sim Sports pole positions on the 9. That is a massive margin. Jared, it's not very often that Jared Filsell's nearly a tenth of a second back from pole position. So Sully put the lap together at the right time, in the right conditions, gets it all done. Robbie Gibbs from Andrew Gilliam. Gilliam would be a lot happier with race number 2's qualifying position, and you can see he's put a lot more effort into the hotter conditions for that one. Robbie Gibbs is starting to really find that turn of speed, and he seems to be leading that Chiefs esports squad at the moment in terms of raw speed. Emily Jones to P5 alongside of Zach Rattray White. What could have been for car 17 in race number 1. Hayden Veld will put a lot better and a lot brighter smile forward for race number 2. Josh Anderson will line up alongside of him. Back towards tail end of the top 10 is going to be Brady Myers, who puts a much better qualifying performance in 2000s ahead of James Scott. Makes it a couple of those Chiefs esports cars inside of the 10. Damon Woods, a couple spots better in race number 2 than it was in race number 1. Wayne Burke will not be selecting a wet tyre in race number 2, you would think, as he starts out of 12th spot. We'll get back to 13th and 14th. Luke Rosella from Jacob O'Reilly in Lobs Esports versus Vermilion on row number 7. Row number 8 is going to be Blake Warboys, and qualifying did not go his way in race number 2 for arguably the best car on the grid. And Madison Down will line up alongside of him, and that is the penalty for being in group number 1. And Dylan Pereira lining up alongside of Lachlan Capel, 0.003 of a second between both of these guys. Pereira, remember, one of those cars out in the first session. Thomas McMillan will line up alongside of Brad Rattu, who found a significantly speedier car from race number 2. Looks like he finally got to grips with that one. Matthew Bowler was quite speedy in the first half of the night. He will line up alongside of Kurt Stenberg all the way back in 21st and 22nd. For both of these guys, Jake Burton will be just outside of them in 23rd. Got pole position, by the way, all the way back in 2023's edition of this race. Actually, sorry, might have been the race win. Rick Kuznetsov will line up on the inside of row number 25, significantly further up the field when you're allowed to qualify the car, from Marcelo Rivera on 26th spot. get back to 27th and 28th is going to be that of Brenton Hobson, and I didn't quite catch the other car that he was alongside of. It will be Jake Maloney in 28th spot. There was an opportunity for car number 29 to have made a better hack of it in qualifying. Unfortunately, threw that one away. William Sapstead from Adam Briggs back to 30th. Outside of the top 30 now, and it's going to be Dylan Rudd from Ryan Bettes in 31st and 32nd. Tom Freer will be 33rd from Angus Lawford in some very uniquely painted race cars. They stick out like a sore thumb up and down the field, to tell you that much. Daniel Poulton will be out of 35th alongside of Andre Heimgartner in 36th. James Chastaneff and Blacklock will be deeper in the field, unfortunately for him, not necessarily sticking qualifying together. Over a second from pole position, Ryan Jones from Jordan Mazzaroli, only 1,000th of a second in that row as well. Wayne Walker and Philippa Bokita, and we managed to get 43 cars of the 44 putting a lap time down here tonight. Brad Newman will start ahead of Rain Campbell off of the final row of the grid. Ladies and gentlemen, we've got an opportunity. We've had some interviews and some words recorded from some of the drivers up and down the field. It's an opportunity to grab some words from Bo Albert.
2025 probably didn't meet their expectations, in all honesty, and they're looking to move forward. That's why sort of myself and Robbie have been brought into the frame as well, just to help support the team of James and Dylan. We want to challenge Lobs. That's it. Like, we're sick of those Falcon cars at the front of the field. We want to get them out of the way. Look, they're great drivers, they're fantastic, but when the Chiefs are in a series, they're here to win. That's the ultimate goal. So getting myself up there, getting Robbie up there, James, Dylan, that's our goal. So yes, it's punchy words from the start, but the overall goal is we're here to win. So it won't happen in round one necessarily, may not happen by round two, but we're coming for them.
And now we'll get the opportunity to hear from Ryan Bettes, and this one's actually recorded at Bathurst, I believe, at the 12 hour, and his attempt to make his way through the field and compete with this one.
It's really good. I missed the grid last year, but was kind of new to the V8 supercar. This year, I put a lot more effort into it, so getting used to the car. No TCS, no ABS. It's really good. Being in the mix of Phil Sell, all those top guys. I'm really keen to see if I can be near them. I don't think I will be, but just be able to put my name up with the pros. It's really keen for that.
Interesting to note, change of a few of the drivers over at the Chiefs Esports Club, and Bo spoke about wanting to really take it to the Lobs cars. He wants to see a Chiefs Esports car at the front end of the field, and I think that's really the strive, isn't it? Is that everybody that Lobs car has been such a target painted onto it for such a long period of time. It's a motivating factor. People are like, right, what are we going to do to beat them?
Absolutely. You want to be the best, you've got to beat the best. And they've shown time after time they are the best, and they've got a great squad of drivers. They've got a great squad of people behind the scenes. They do their work. They put in the time. I'm not saying that no one else does either, but, their testing and their race results are part and parcel of what makes them obviously the team to beat. And, everyone's just really got to lift the game. I mean, there was times where I guess, TTR were top of the pops, and they now realise that they're not. They have to do their work, and they have to chase down Lobs, and everyone is in that boat, and they all know they can do it. And like what he said too, it's not going to happen overnight. Won't be round one, might not be round two, but they're going to push as hard as they can to get the job done throughout 2026.
That they will. We are within 5 seconds of going into a race start formation. You've seen all the lights on the rear end of the cars start to come alive. 94 kilometres in race number 2. One compulsory pit stop. Can make it home from the end of lap 5 without any fuel saving. Ryan O'Sullivan's got pole position. He'd love to take it and convert. What's he able to do from the front end of the field? Who's going to get a crawl off the grid as the cars are full to the brim with fuel? And it's going to be a run down to turn number 1. For Sullivan's on the inside. He's going to ask Jared Philsell to go the long way around. Philsell cannot find grip on the outside of turn 1. Ryan O'Sullivan will lead, looking for Robbie Gibbs, who's really trying to take what Team Boss Bo Albert said to Hart. He's going to try and challenge for it. Here comes Rosella deeper in the field. He's trying to cut his way through as well. Matt Bowler and Jacob O'Reilly going toe-to-toe up and over the crest. And now it's about settling yourself in. For Emily Jones, qualifying went well. Now capitalise on it. Warboys qualifying not so well in race number 2. And he will try and cut his way through as well, find some speed. And it looks like Cleaner up to turn number 6 on lap number 1.
Oh, they're still fighting back in the field, though, and that's exactly what you want to see from these drivers. A little bit of give and take. The elbows are out. But you can see here they are side by side, trying to make this run onto the back straight, get the power down as quick as they can without the car getting away from it. But like you said, a nice clean start, but it's close.
And for lap number 1, 23 laps. How are you going to slice and dice this one? Lap 5, you can get into the pits and you can make it home. It's been a long, long time since that safety car has been in operation. And the Logitech G V8 Pro Series, in fact, is no longer a BMW. Tonight, it's a Mustang. And it will be going into the future as well. But for these guys, do they want to see it or do they not want to see it? Like I said, that compulsory pit stop, that's just another element. How full of fuel do you throw this thing? It'll be a shorter dump of fuel. The fuel will be over and done with before you drop from taking 4 tyres here tonight.
Just watching these cars just through the S's, just...
Also wide.
It just didn't quite get that. Now he's going to be vulnerable a little bit here. Obviously he'll be awake to Robbie Gibbs thinking about throwing it up the inside. And Robbie just thinks better of it. But this is smart driving from these guys. Just let them get into a little bit of a rhythm for the moment. Just see what they've got underneath them. Obviously a little bit, obviously different track conditions for what we experienced in the earlier race. But now they just want to get themselves into a groove. They all know what they've got playing in the back of their minds as far as their pit strategy and when they're going to pit. But that could all change with the safety car. We haven't seen one tonight so far, and the chances are pretty unlikely, but you never know.
Well, Robbie Gibbs is starting to get all the way up towards that rear bumper. I'm going to take a replay on board of James Scott. Did he miss letting the clutch go?
I wonder if he had it in gear and forgot to have it in first gear. I'm not sure, but he just didn't get away, did he?
No, 7 spots on that opening lap on the run down to turn number 1. That's massive. That takes a lot away from you. I think we're going to have a look at the onboard dash to see whether or not it was a gear pluck.
We probably didn't quite see it. That's the only thing I can imagine is that he wasn't in. He might have been in neutral. So we check that on board. Yep, he's in neutral. Revs are up. Field's gone. He's gone, oh crap, got to pull first gear.
Right, so one little mistake. Tick of that box. For Ryan O'Sullivan, he's starting to get the afterburner lit on that rear bumper. And Andrew Gilliam's coming up to this one as well. Luke Rosella is just about riding the rear bumper of the car ahead of him as they tipped it in up there as well. Change of car paint in between the 2 races as well. That is Josh Anderson in race number 2. He's also changed manufacturers between race 1 and race 2 as well. Goes from the Ford back to the Chevy. And Wayne Burke is sitting and watching as Damon Woods will now try and go around the outside of Josh Anderson. He just about gets into the rear bar. So they're all queuing up for a chop at the cherry. Josh Anderson, and then it's the 2 prettiest cars on the track, debatably, as Blake Warboys gets up the inside, shows a door panel to Wayne Burke and confirms that spot.
You can't tell a Honda man that. He's just got Kawasaki in his bloods, but I won't hold that. I do love the NASCAR style number on the side of the car. I will give him that much. That thing looks brilliant.
And it's just pops. It pops. And that's what we're looking for. And I agree with what Wayne Burke's got on as well. Another car that you can see coming and is very, very distinct. We went through a period in Australian sim racing where everything was red, white, and black. And you could have thrown red, white, and black and you would have covered about 90% of the field. Not that anymore. And that's what I like about it.
In front of him, Madison Down, who we touched on, he started P16. He was pole coming into, or provisional pole, I should say, coming into the second qualifying session and started out of 16th. So he's got his work cut out for him, P13. Thankfully, it's a little bit longer race for him, 23 laps, but with a compulsory pit stop as we go on board with Josh Anderson. And he's got Woods here who's looking quite hungry. Will he think about moving up the inside? No, Anderson is all over that. And they'll fight to live another day.
Damon Woods is lurking, getting closer all the time. It's starting to show a little bit of aggression. Got to earn some respect from Josh Anderson though. Yeah, show of the nose. Just let him know I'm here. I'm coming. I've got pace. Is Anderson just holding back a fraction? He's just thinking about his race pace. Just managing. Don't want to take too much out of that tyre too early, but it'll be a shorter tyre stint.
Love this shot through the S's. You can just see where all the cars are just lined up behind each other. Of course, Anderson got a teammate in Brady Myers in front of him, so they're just controlling things a little bit. There is that little bit of a margin between Hayden Veld and Brady Myers. You can see it visually there. Look at that. So again, they might be running to a different strategy. They might decide to pit later, so they want to look after their tyres at the start. The guys behind them might be keen to use up their tyres and they might pit early. So different layouts of the way the people will go about their pit stops.
So a fair way back in the field as well. This is back up at the pointy end. Field cell's starting to get a little bit closer, but look at that leading group of cars all the way down to Hayden Veld in 7th. The back end, 7 cars. Throw a blanket over them at the moment, all sitting around each other. There's now enough room in the fuel tank to throw a lot of fuel at the car and get the thing home from here. I think clean track and not racing people is probably going to be the element that sort of decides when you pit. If there's a lot of boxing going on in the pack that you're in, you'll probably come a little bit earlier.
Side by side here, talking about boxing. They got away with it, a little bit of a wiggle, but Jake Brayton got away with that. It'll be interesting to see the track temperature too, if we get a moment, Jay, just to see where we're at the moment. So 47 degrees, and that's something they'll be keeping an eye on too, because that will affect their tyre wear. So it's on the climb a little bit from the end of qualifying. But like you said, if you're in the thick of it and you need some clear track, Emily Jones right there behind Zach Rattray-White. Didn't quite get a run there for Zach, so Emily might have a chance here. But yeah, if you find yourself in the thick of it, you will think about pitting early to get some fresh air.
The big thing for this lead group will be what they think about doing it. It was actually a move from Rattray-White down the inside of Emily Jones on the run into turn 6 that precipitated all of that, and Emily's just quite nice about it. Just sit entry. All right, you've got that one. Yep. Just play on. The big thing will be, what is this next group of cars, Brady Myers at the head, going to look like once we get some laps under our belt? All of a sudden, Luke Rosella's starting to come under a little bit of pressure from Blake Warboys. But everyone's just watching and waiting at the moment. Nobody's really firing that big shot early.
It's almost like a game of chess, isn't it? You know, who breaks the mould first as far as doing that pit stop? And the thing you notice too, look at the amount of pressure that Fuel Cell's got behind here.
So 3 drivers are going to dive into the pit lane early, all a little bit out of sequence. Hobson didn't quite get qualifying together. So again, he's just looking for track because it's so much more difficult to gain those spots on the racetrack. 6 laps worth of tyre delta isn't a lot, but it is something. Again, Gibbs just looking for a little bit of drive. None of these guys are sort of falling off or making massive gains at the moment. You'll wait for that trigger to be pulled. That'll be the big one, but Ryan O'Sullivan finding his way back into the series after an extended break from the sim. Came back in 2025 to be co-drivering with Ethan Grieg-Gault last year. The entirety of the qualifying series under that banner at Evolution Racing Team. At the end of the qualifying series was a change of teams. He felt good, he looked good out on track. He was putting those results together. We were just waiting for the day he just chalked off that win. Didn't happen for him. Had to go the long way around qualifying. But now the man's definitely sticking it all together. And for Sully, he's back and back in a big way.
We've seen on screen too, it's Daniel Poulton that got a 5-second penalty. Arguably the best helmet on the grid, in my eyes. We'll have to go and check out the graphic for that. But yeah, for me, he's definitely got the best helmet on the grid. But unfortunately, he's just got that penalty hanging over his head for the moment. And more in the pits too. So Heimgartner, Briggs, Wayne Walker. Here we go. And this is, we'll check out this penalty here. So into turn 1. It's a dive up the inside and, unfortunately, nose to tail like that.
Did you see that? The car that appeared from the right-hand side of that shot. There was another car in there.
Yeah, probably need to see a wide shot or a helicopter shot from that. That will be very interesting. Dive, Philsell.
Job done, and now Philsell gets it done on Sully. Sully's looking for the crossover. He has got back to the inside, and there's going to be an elbow traded in that one as well.
Yeah, he tried to fire back, but he obviously wasn't alongside enough of Philsell. So Jared's going to take that spot away, and usually this is the point where you start to see him push. He'll do a couple of push laps, and then he'll dive into pit lane. So I'm not surprised now he's got that job done on Ryan. I imagine in a couple of laps' time, he'll be into the pits and swap for tyres. We'll see down in as well. Here's that replay. Oh, I tell you what, fair argument. He was up the inside. Yeah, he did have someone up the inside of him, but yeah, there you go.
Either way, it's all in the book now, and the stewards have handed down their judgment. Is that second car? I think the big thing is you've got to be aggressive in this field, particularly when you're a little bit deeper down, because if you're not going to make those gains on the opening lap, it becomes significantly more difficult to gain them later on. Right, what did this exchange look like on board for Jared Philsell here? Dives in from several cars back, grabs the spot away, then it transitions across. He was there. He was there.
Yeah, but he's on the outside too, so your argument around the outside isn't really going to stick. So we see Rattray White, he's decided to dive off into pit lane.
He's looking for a little clear air too, is Rattray White.
Yeah.
Unfortunately for Ryan Campbell, Knight was looking pretty reasonable heading into the pit stops. Speeding on the way in. We talked about that cone being moved to fairway earlier. He's come a cropper of it. And stop and hold penalty for 40 seconds for speeding in the pit lane. Favourite line I go to at these stages whenever I get a pit lane speeding penalty is it was a little bit too fast. It's just in the area it didn't matter. Blake Warbur's got a lot of speed on board car 63 at the moment. Would love to get by Brady Myers and then run long in this first stint whilst he's got cars clear, because then he can get it done in the back half. As the tyres start to ail on the Trans-Tasman machines ahead of them. Not quite able to close enough on Brady Myers to think about a lunge at the chicane. Does Myers think about diving off into pit lane if the tyres are starting to fall off this thing? Rosella's lining up for a crack at them both.
Philsell's in.
Behind them, Jared Philsell's not going to wait. No, a whole host of them start to come back in. So lap 10, Brady Myers just cut through the grass in the pit lane entry. Here's Hobson and Rayne Campbell both coming. Looking back over to pit lane. Hubbo got elbowed wide there. Brady Myers is going to have a penalty for sure.
We'll have to get a replay of that Myers incident, but I was pretty sure that Philsell was going to pit very shortly. He always seems to have that charge and that push. He saves a little bit, and then he knows that when he's only a couple of laps away from pitting, he uses up that tyre, because what's the point? They're going to be coffee tabled shortly. So he's had a good stop too, and finds himself in a little bit of clear air. I think he came out in front of the car too, so he'll be happy about that.
Yeah, Zach Rattray White was the trigger for all of that. Could you imagine if these two get back after it once again? After race number one, again, the guys just do not like each other, do not get on. Painter's been traded elsewhere.
The thing that's working in Philsell's favour is that he's got that 1 or 2 laps extra fresh tyres. So when you've got track position and that 1 or 2 laps fresher, it always sort of works in your favour. Lap 11 of 23. And Philsell's effectively your race leader, even though it's Ryan O'Sullivan, Robbie Gibbs, Luke Rosella, they're still all yet to pit.
And this is the
his
Brady
weak
Myers
one.
motor.
Oh, man. Locked it up and just couldn't pull it up. Now, I wonder what that is. Is that a 5 second? Is it a hold? I don't know what the penalty is for that one. It's an iRacing penalty, so...
40-second time penalty in pit lane as well, so the same penalty that Rain Campbell picked up. Rhino Sullivan dives in from the race lead. What's the field split going to be like? Car 55. Luke Rosella looking for some gains through the pit cycle. Andrew Gilliam might be up to effective P3 at the moment. Depends where Sullivan blends. He does blend in ahead. No, he's just ahead of Emily Jones. So Gilliam's made gains through that pit cycle. Rattray White's gained the most of a lot of them, but he's going to have to suffer on that tyre. Robbie Gibbs has lost a fair chunk as well.
Yeah, it's always a little bit of swings and roundabouts, isn't it? As you see, our race leader for the moment, Luke Rosella, definitely got his hands full there with Berkey behind him. You would imagine it won't be too much longer before they dive into the lane. I think Luke looks like he's staying out. So they're going to go for this longer run and have fresher tyres at the end.
And the goal for these guys will be, well, they all went short. We've got clear air. And whilst ever it is clear air, they'll continue on with it. The instant it starts to get compromised, and Wayne Burke's sort of got to make a decision about that. Thomas McMillan, in the meantime, has crawled up onto the back of these guys. So he'll be making massive gains to this point. And contact at the chicane for Rain Campbell and Jordan Mazzaroli. Bit of arge and barge and other way around it. Jacob O'Reilly and Blake Warboys get back after it now. Warboys, he's been charging through, so there's speed on board this thing. Now he's just got to find some way to maximise it.
Imagine how much faster it'll be if it was a Honda.
Slower, mate. Slower.
The race has settled a little bit, hasn't it? Like everyone's just getting themselves into a rhythm, and we know there's still some pit stops to play out.
So we're just waiting for it at the moment. Some of those guys in most positions gained. Maloney, Rivera, McMillan, Rosella, all yet to stop. Yeah, here they all come. They're in the pit lane now.
Yeah. So a little bit for this to all cycle through. This is a painful bit, isn't it, too? You know, when you're on a different strategy, you're in the lane and you see the leaders go past, you're like, damn it.
But for now, Jared Philsell re-emerges at the front end of the timing, which is what was expected. The thing is, can Rattray White go with him? What's Gilliam going to have to serve up for Rattray White? Speed definitely coming to car 201 at the moment. It's gained track position. And the rejoins for a bunch of these guys. So Warboys has got that job done now on Jacob O'Reilly. Next target for him will be Madison Down.
That car just getting the power down, the bouncing on the off the curbs. I love listening to these onboards and listen to their throttle. Just gently, he's trying to get it back to full throttle as quick as he can, but obviously being smart about it at the same time. It's that fine line, but it can be a game changer. You get it done just that little bit better than old mate in front of you, and it works a treat.
Dake Maloney to pit lane. I think that might have the field cleansed in terms of pit stops. Indeed, it will be. So after that, we will get an opportunity to see where everyone has shaken out. Who have been the movers and shakers? Damon Woods is still on the fastest lap of the race in the middle of all of that. And for now, Gilliam starts to close as he goes a tenth quicker than Rattray White on that lap. Was the quickest of the top three. Oh, Lachlan Cable gets an elbow from Luke Rosella. Regardless, spot picked off.
I love the attitude of these cars through the S's, bouncing up over the curbs. They're all nose to tail. Just really looks brilliant. It gives you a real understanding of how these drivers go about achieving their lap time and how greedy they want to get with the curbs. It's a fine line. And this, oh, look at this. Rosella right to the back of Bo Albert. And he might be close enough. He's got a little bit of a draft here. But he's going to make him go to the outside, or imagine Bo would cover to the inside. Oh, he's giving it up.
He's up
So
his
he's
door.
actually going to get the inside run now.
The big question will be for Bo Albert is, does he yield on this one? Yeah, he does, nice and early. And this is a difference of 4 laps on tyres, which is why that was sort of a rollover and let it happen job. Lawford's going to look back through the rear wing with Chastanoff and Blacklock off and through the gravel trap on the outside. I was just wondering for who that might have been. And yeah, it was Sam Blacklock, car 215. So he's not having a great night at the office of Road Atlanta.
Angus is wrapped. Gets gifted a free spot. Oh no, Angus!
Oh!
Angus! He's having a moment. What's happened there? Was it a downshift that caught him out? We were riding on board, commentators curse, and now he's dropped a couple of spots.
He's still hanging on to it. He's still hanging on to it. The rear wants to get away from him. Everywhere down through the curves. And now the adrenaline kicks in.
Oh,
He gets an opportunity to take a half breath for Angus Lawford.
lucky to hold on to him. Was it a downshift? Oh, I was too busy engrossed in the onboard, and I don't know if a downshift just caught him out and the car got away from him, but man, he's lucky to put it on the black stuff.
So we're going to get an update on what happened to Sam Blacklock. There was 2 separate incidents on that previous lap, we're being told. And this is with Jake Burton. So this is turn 6. He's into the rear bar all the way to turn 6. And Blacklock covers it and gets a serve and a second one. Through goes Stenberg. Here comes Tom Freer looking for a piece of the action. It's
And he's wrapped. He's gone out. He's been gifted a couple of spots, but I don't know. It might not be over here.
Is there a second one coming?
Is Blacklock going to dive up the inside, possibly? No. Burton still in behind Blacklock. Oh,
There it
Burton's with another serve. So it's a little bit less than friendly between those two.
And the thing is, for Angus Lawford, we'll get this replay now, is Blacklock was the guy that sort of skated through at the back end of the shot. So it's more of all this, trying to get down the inside of Burton. Burton's squabbling on with Tom Freer.
Oh,
He just breaks away from him.
he did a magnificent job to hold on to that. Oh my God, he's still getting swamped. Well done, Angus. Like, boy, oh boy, did he have his work cut out for him. Lucky we didn't have a heart rate monitor on him, because that thing would have blown.
You could see it on the onboard and the cameras too. Not only the wheel work, but the eyes lit up.
Nice. Yeah.
Got very, very big.
Here we go. Well done, Angus. Holy dooly.
And in the middle of all of that, it's Rhino Sullivan starting to track these guys back down again. This is Stenberg now, closing into Marcelo Rivera, and I think there'll be a tyre life difference between these guys.
Getting up on the wheel.
4 laps better on tyres for Marcelo Rivera. So he's just got through potentially on Stenberg. I think that was the ERT car, would have been. So in the background of the previous shot. And word coming in, Joshua Anderson's just had a bit of a moment or something's gone on.
Oh, is he in the wall?
The engine's off. Oh, I can tell you the light on the rear end of that car is flashing. There's
Oh,
no engine.
Is
For
this a
Josh
late race
Anderson.
safety car?
And the tow's been called for, and there is
Yeah.
no way they can get that one out. We're going to get a safety car. We're going to have a 4-lap dash.
What's happened here? He's had contact with the wall. Now, I wonder who he was fighting with and whether that was, there's more to the story there. So it's an awkward spot. Are they going to call a safety car? The safety car is out.
Here we go. Here
Yeah,
we
safety
go.
car.
It's going to be a short sprint race. Is it going to be 4? Is it might only be 3.
Was he going again? No, this is a replay? No.
No, this is the replay for Josh Anderson.
Here we go.
So it's Damon Woods that's in behind him. And I'm just trying to pick out which of the Eclipse cars. Is that maybe Rattray White that's just ahead of them? No, it won't be. Just down the road.
Woods is close. Oh,
Damon Woods is into him, up and over the curb.
oh,
Face first into the fence.
massive contact.
We'll pop an engine. There it goes.
Oof, yeah, stewards will be all over that one. As the Mustang's on track for our safety car. We'd have to nickname that Mustang Sally for sure, wouldn't we? Sally's on track. Here we go.
Sally.
This is out the back.
Yeah, there's definitely going to be contact when we get in here, and that's the problem. Is the car starts to get a little bit wide. And
He doesn't get out of the throttle. He just feeds him. So there's no way Anderson can gather that up because he's opposite lock. He's obviously going to be out of the throttle, and he's not going to gather that up. So I think the stewards will be pretty keen to have a look at that one.
there's a few cars in the pit lane, by the way.
Rolling the dice.
May as
Put
well.
on some fresh rubber.
Have a think about this for Brady Myers. Remember, he had a massive penalty, as did Rain Campbell. Both of them, issues with entering pit lane. They're at the tail end of the field anyway. May as well bolt fresh tyres on and have a stab.
Yep. Yep. So it's going to be quite the little sprint to the end. No overtime like we have in NASCAR. So once we get to a couple of laps to go, that's it.
Adam
It's gonna be
Briggs will be the lead driver with fresh tyres on. By the way,
In what position? Where's he coming up? Just trying to see.
34.
Yeah,
34
so
is where he's popped back out.
you might grab a couple, but it's going to be tricky. It depends on how many laps we've got to go. And it's not a massive tyre advantage. It is a little bit, though. Well, it makes things interesting, doesn't it? Phil Sell, Zach Rattray White, Andrew Gillingham, your top three. It's almost a reverse, or pretty much what we exactly had it in race number 1 with Phil Sell and Zach Rattray White. Unfortunately, the conditions caught Zach Rattray White out and ended up finishing, I think, P5 at the end of it. But here he is now, getting his chance to get some redemption on Jared. It's going to be very, very interesting.
Well, that's what I was just going to say. Does this, tyres are going to cool off a little bit here. They should come back to both of the drivers, which means that one extra lap worth of pace. You just have a stab from Zach Rattray White's perspective. Why not?
Yeah. Well, it's
Yeah,
round 2.
race one didn't go all that well.
Yep. It's round 2. So why not? Come back for Madison down 2, so he's in P9 currently. So this will work in his favour a little bit. Obviously, that we touched on, started P16.
Jake Maloney pit very late as well. He only pit sort of 5 or 6 laps ago. So he's got very fresh tyres as well. And there's a bunch of cars around him that pit very early. So expect him to jump up from 20th spot. He'll be looking to try and grab a whole bunch.
I'm curious. I don't know that the tyre deg is going to be a massive player as far as... Only because it's such a short race and we haven't done a lot of laps on these tyres. And like you said, that this little cool down period will definitely benefit everyone. Now, does Sally head back to the pits? I think she does.
Yeah, off she goes. Transition back into pit lane for the new Mustang safety car in all the new colours and all the new glory. The orange and blue. Jared Filsell will be handed the reins, as we said so many times in the past. And he would be forgiven for thinking earlier on in the day, when the heavens opened up, that was the opportunity for sink or swim. Could a 3-lap dash at the end of things behind the safety car be the real sink or swim moment? Think about Gilliam. These two blew on ahead of him. He's a shot for a race win as well.
What about the restart? Jared gets to predict the restart, so he doesn't have to go when they might think. They might think he might go as we get out of here. And he has. Does he look like it? No, he's still holding position. He could go as late as the start-finish line.
I'll just back him all the way up.
Yeah, I would.
Way.
And he is too. And that's exactly what I would do. Make a shorter run to turn 1. It's green, but we don't have to go yet. And that's exactly what he's doing. Well done, Jared. Love it.
He's still holding them. And Rattray White's having a look. Gilliam went early. Gilliam tried to have a go at it. Now Rhino Sullivan's just about getting into the back end of him. So Gilliam tried to jump start. He tried to make some time, make some gain. He read it wrong and nearly cost him big time. Robbie Gibbs is going to try and have a stab at the pair of them. And Rattray White senses blood in the water, senses an opportunity. He would love to stamp it all over the series. We said over the last couple of years, it's coming for him. We saw it last week in the Porsche Cup cars, winning race number 2. This coming towards the tail end of the field. Brady Myers is having connection issues with those fresh tyres as well. And Rattray White fires into the inside. He's going to have a go on him. Just about got there. Got the thing all locked up as they headed down to turn number 6. There's a car off in the S's. I think it's going to be rolling once more. There's another car off out of it, turn 6.
Hard into the wall. I didn't see who that was, but Myers. No, it's Burton we're hearing. Oh, massive damage. Are we going to have another safety car?
They'll have to, which means it's over.
In the middle of the race.
Rattray White senses it's coming. He pinches the brakes, gets into him. Does he try and redress? Gilliam's going to skate through the inside. What did I say? What did I say? If these two blew, if these two have a go at each other, the field will go nuts. Phil Shelley's all out of shape coming to the final corner. The field scatters. Robbie Gibbs through to P2. Here comes O'Sullivan. Sullivan covers him all the way to the apex at turn 1. Now does Rattray White line up for a return of serve. Here comes Emily Jones, I think it is, in the 44 machine, having a crack as well. But Andrew Gilliam sensed an opportunity. If these two blew, if they had a stab at each other, it all turns to custard. It all turns absolutely pear-shaped. And Andrew Gilliam was waiting, Sandman, for that opportunity.
Hey, I don't know if they got word about the safety car, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen. It looks like a clear track, so we're going to still go green. Film cell. Now Zach Rattray White is gone. There was contact between him and Film cell.
And Phil Cell's still all out of control at this point in time. Emily Jones skates up the inside. There's another car that went through. Hayden Fell got into it. Phil Cell's in free fall at the moment. Evan Wood skates through. But I think there was having a hip and shoulder from car 56, the teammate for Rattray White. Might have shown his colours there. Here comes Warboys. He's going to have a blue on with car 248. McMillan screwing his way up and inside the top 10. Just Warboys trying to have a go. The white flag going to be out. Everyone's throwing it at everything. There's an opportunity for a race win. Robbie Gibbs, there was a lot said a couple of years ago from Sebring. He got his first ever win in the series, but it was when everything turned to custom for everybody else. Could he win one? Could he earn one over Andrew Gilliam?
It's still going on into turn number 1. Everyone is giving it what they can. They know this is the last chance. Man, what a shake-up. Unbelievable. The dying lap of this one. Everyone is still nose to tail. Anyone's race. Gilliam over Gibbs, over O'Sullivan.
And bubbling beneath the surface, it threatened, and finally it boiled over. And there's a mess to clean up on the stovetop. It has bubbled away. It boiled. It burned. It's burning on the stovetop. Phil Cell's still on the slide. He's back to 8th spot at this point in time. There's a battle on for 4th and 5th, I think, as well. It's Emily Jones and Damon Woods going toe-to-toe with each other. Sullivan wants a piece of this. Here comes the gains down the back straight away for Robbie Gibbs. He's not quite close enough. Does he think about throwing a shot? Does he think about having a last lap, last gasp at the chicane? Gilliam gets in there. Gibbs looks like he got in there a little bit hotter. He might have a stab at him as they come out of the chicane. How's it on for 4th spot in the background as well? They're really going to blow over it. And 2 races, 2 opportunities, 2 wild rides to finish things with Gilliam comes out on top at Road Atlanta. It's highs, it's falls, it's mountainous. What's happened here tonight? It's momentous. And when the track boils over, look at them all into each other across the start-finish line, deeper in the field. There's moments here. This is a flashpoint, Sandman. Absolute flashpoint.
Oh my goodness. I'm trying to see the timing string to see where Phil Cell ended up coming home.
8th.
We're hearing 8th position. Holy. Unbelievable. And Gilliam picks up the pieces when they were all having a red hot crack. Now, this is what we thought. There might have been a safety car. This is this incident as we go to the OG Gear replay with Burton. Now, we're hearing that Sam Blacklock, now, it wasn't that too many laps ago that Blacklock and Burton were having words.
Oh, boy.
So I wonder if this is a continuation. Now, we're only speculation at the moment. We haven't seen the replay yet. Burton's run wide. And Blacklock. Oh. I think Burton was trying to maybe close the door on him there, but anyway, that's going to be very interesting. And we thought that was going to bring a safety car, and I think that might have been when, you know, the teams would have been in the driver's ear saying there's a chance for a safety car, and that's when all hell broke loose.
Well, that's, yeah, as soon as that incident got called out, there's a car needing a tow. Rattray White immediately pulled the trigger.
Yeah.
Immediately.
And Gilliam. Man, oh man, under the bridge, that was wild, wasn't it? They were just going for it.
I said, they don't like each other. Rattray White and Jared Philsell, they disagree on a lot. And there's been a lot of contact between the two of them in the recent past. You just had a feeling, you had a sneaking suspicion. And the way race one went, I definitely feel like there was an opportunity there on the table.
See if we can get that replay up, maybe, Jay, of when all that chaos started to happen before the bridge. So he's already read my mind. He's feverishly working back in the background, but this is when it all started to unfold. And he's made a dive here up the inside of Phil Cell. He's gone in deep, gone in hot. They've gone and doored each other. And then as that's gone on, have a look at that. He just goes straight through, says thanks very much.
Presence of mind.
And this is where Phil Cell just drops. Oh, lucky not to spin there. Sideways, more contact. And now it's just like blood in the water.
Beating frenzy for the Sharks.
And then what happens is he obviously overheats his tyres because he's trying his absolute hardest here. Zach Rattray White into him again. Oh, more nose-to-tail contact there. So we're going to stay with this. You can see him battling it up through the S's, up over the ripple strips. Who's that? That's Jones. So Emily's there. And this is where that contact's are. The stewards might look at that one too, because that obviously fires Zach Rattray White. Emily now pounces there. Woods pounces. And then Jared's out on the dirt. And now everyone's just, there's down that gets past him as well. It's just a horrible feeling. You haven't got that pace down the back straight and everyone's got the jump on you. And he's gone from a possible win to almost slipping outside the top 10.
Someone's rattled his cage. Absolutely. They're rattling each other's cages. And now, admittedly, could that be the chink in the armour that we finally need to see? The pace-wise, they're getting it done. They're both at the head of the field and they're both at the top of their games at the moment. But if push comes to shove, we're going to see some cages getting rattled. And both of them are a little bit in free fall at the moment, at the back end of that one. Obviously, there's one car that's lost a lot more than the other one. But, well, bumpers were used at Atlanta. It was used to trigger the safety car. And it was used to trigger a whole bunch of calamity in the dying stages. This one, the top 10 from Andrew Gilliam. He's going to get it done here at Road Atlanta from Robbie Gibbs. Robbie would have loved to have stolen that one at the dying stages, threw an absolute kitchen sink at it. How about Ryan O'Sullivan as well, though? Gets a podium in the main game. He is back in a big way. Emily Jones home in P4. Woods will be home in P5. Question mark over that one in the contact with Josh Anderson. Hayden Veld from Madison down. Phil Cell falls to 8th. Thomas McMillan is home just behind him. Wayne Burke gets back to 10th, at least some gains on car 89 at the back end of the night. Luke Rosella home in 11th. Blake Warboys from Rattray White falls all the way to 13th. Again, we're going to put question marks over quite a number of cars in this list because everything's provisional at the moment. The last gasps of incidents to be reviewed at the tail end of that one have a lot of the field under a blanket. James Scott from Bow Albert, Matt Bowler, Maloney, Sapstead and Pereira home inside the top 20. And I know you don't like seeing this one decided in the steward's office, but I think it's going to be. And I don't think there's any other way to handle it at this point in time. Outside the 20, though, we'll get back to that of Dylan Rudd from Brad Ratsu, Kurt Stenberg, Sam Blacklock, Angus Lawford, Ryan Bettis, Matt Ciroli, Ryan Jones, Adam Briggs, Marcelo Rivera, home to 30th spot. And outside the 30, Chastner from Heimgartner, Rain Campbell gained spots. I think he might have been the lead car on that strategy from Lachlan Capel, Tom Frere, Brent Hobson, Paulton Walker, Kuznetsov and Brady Myers with issues and internet connection issues down at 40th. Philippa Bokita, the last car on the lead lap. Burton not making the line. Neither was Josh Anderson, and Brad Newman had issues all the way back at the start end of things. So, and there's some issues between Dylan Pereira and Jake Maloney post-race, we're hearing. So after the checkered flag, this one's just been picked up, and I'll let you talk us through it, Sam, man.
Yeah, well, it's always, temper's always flare a little bit, so he's flashing his lights, just letting him know that he's obviously not impressed about something. And that's just his way of saying, you know what, whatever happened between us, I wasn't happy about it. Pulls alongside. That's not too bad.
That's communication.
Just letting him know. Yeah, just letting him know.
All right, we're going to go ahead and grab it tonight's race winner. We spoke to him before. Race number 1 of the card. Car number 201 gets it done. And Andrew Gilliam, mate, job done. You put all the pace, you put all 4 wheels on the thing, all 4 corners on the thing. And, well, when opportunity presents, who are you to look a gift horse in the mouth?
Yeah, man. No, it's it's surreal to have another win again. I'm super stoked, especially to come back. I felt like I was a bit behind the car in race 1 and really kind of, learnt quickly and maximized what I had and put myself in a really good position then. Solid strategy. I let Zach undercut me, but then I undercut 2 cars back, and I was pretty content to be third after the night I was having. And seized the moment. I saw it straight away. The moment I saw those rears locked, like puff of white smoke at the start of the braking zone, I was like, "Oh, here we go. How do I set myself up here?"
Mate, we kept it clean, kept all 4 corners on it. Unfortunately, we're going to rattle through things tonight, mate. Who would you like to give a thank you and a shout out to for getting it done here tonight?
Yeah, just big shout out to our sponsor, OG Sim Gear. Definitely check them out. Wearing their socks at the moment. Bloody awesome if you're wearing race shoes or anything like that. So, yeah, go check them out. And just thank you guys, Race Control Commentary Team, for putting on such a big event.
Mate, congratulations. Still another race win. And, hey, car 201 in victory lane. You'll take that at the end of the day. In the meantime, the guy that was chasing him down, it's Robbie Gibbs and Sam Man standing alongside.
Congratulations, Robbie. Car 31, loving that you got it done, mate. P2. Congratulations, mate. Tell us quickly about that.
Yeah, thank you. That was good couple of races. Had some good pace, but probably not quite enough. Maybe some fine tuning, but that finish to the second race, that was pretty gnarly. So just tried to keep the nose clean and let the other guys do what they were going to do, and I may have tried to get to Andrew's rear bar at the last chicane, but we won't worry about that.
Well, mate, unfortunately we're time certain tonight, so we're going to give you a chance to say your thank yous. But who do you want to thank that got everything done for you tonight?
Yeah, just want to thank the guys at Chiefs at Eclipse for the work with the setup, and obviously thank all our sponsors: Aussie Broadband, Logitech, Westfield, True Apparel, and all the guys at the Chiefs on the back end for looking out for us, and you guys as well for a good call.
Well, thanks, mate. Sorry we had to cut it short. 2 races have been exciting tonight, and Scotty, mate, that was a hell of a round for round number 2, but it's getting late and we have to wrap things up.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are done here from Road Atlanta. There is a lot to sit down and watch back, and it all kicked off at the tail end of 2 races on the night. Rain made the first one spicy, and, well, with a little bit of fire in the water, all of a sudden it blew over in overtime at the back end of race number 2. But what does it look like for the rest of the calendar? A reminder that this is the place to be on a Wednesday night. And the reason for that is we don't just have V8 supercar action. We've also got the things that slide their way around the racetrack. 2026 Pro Sprint Car Invitational returns next week at Kokomo. And the best part about all of that is you can get involved in the Fantasy League over at speedwaydraft.com if you want to pick your fantasy drivers for who you think is going to be the best in the business in the 2026 Sprint Car Pro Invitational. V8 Pro returns in 2 weeks' time from Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps at 7:45 p.m. on May the 13th. Following that up, another round of the Sprint Car Pro Invitational at Lanier. Then it's Porsche Cup time, the Nürburgring Grand Prix Streck, which means it's also the short and sharp chicane. You saw how the V8 guys got the elbows out here tonight. I can tell you the same's been going down in Porsche Cup. If you missed that one, you're probably feeling a little bit silly with yourself. Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez, new to the service, new to the calendar. What will play host in Mexico City on June the 3rd for the V8s? Fairbury Speedway in June the 10th, before we start to get back into the back half of the calendar. And there is a graphical era at the bottom end of things, but Sandman, I really, really hope that the V8 Pros go to Weed Sport. Maybe it won't be June the 17th. That will be the next round of the 2026 Sprint Car Pro Invitational. You reckon we'll ever get a round on dirt in this series?
I hope not. I love my dirt cars, but I think sprint cars should stay there, and I think supercars should stay tarmac. Exactly. The trucks, when the truck series went to the dirt, wasn't for me either. So, no, let's keep them in their natural habitat, I say.
You reckon we get Cam Waters on the phone? I know he'd absolutely love the series to go to dirt. So, Cam Waters. No, yeah, of course you haven't. Mate, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us. I've been Scotty Rankin. He's been Stephen Sandman Clark, and he's a big Repsol Honda fan. Don't you worry about it. Kokomo next Wednesday night. We will go slideways. We'll see you all then.
Hi, I'm Jano Jada. I currently race GT3 in Australia. It's a cool brand. The socks and the gloves are quite cool, and it's good to use on the sim. High quality materials, and most importantly, comfortable. Quite cool to feel all the bits doing their job, and it was good.
You've always felt it, that spark, that pull. Watching the greats carve through history. Every turn, risk, reward. Now you don't just watch, you step inside. You take the wheel. Together, we're breaking barriers between sim and sport. Setting a new standard for performance. So with the power in your palms, the roar in your ears, and the position of a pro, let's turn dream to drive and play to podium. Our legacy, now yours. Welcome to the grid.